Phone. We live. We in here.
Chilling chat.
What up, YouTube? What up? What up?
Oh yeah, at least I got the notification right away. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah. I know, right? They on us on Sunday, and they like it's a little slow around here today, so we got it.
Yeah,
Send
so
these
we're gonna we're
notifications
gonna we're
out.
gonna push this for you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. We in there. We in there. What up, YouTube world? Toglife in the building. T Mid in the building. It's been a minute since I've been live, man. It's been a minute since I really dropped a video. So if peeps have watched my video yesterday, I'm in Vegas now, bro. I moved to Vegas, had to leave LA, um, which was crazy. And I don't want to talk about it too much, but I just want to touch on it again. You know, I left LA, uh, because man, LA, man, LA. I feel like LA. You either love it or you hate it. What up, Robin? What up, Chris? What up, MPP? What's cracking? Yeah, I feel like LA, man. You either love it or you hate it. Really,
Yeah,
it's hard to have an in between. And I was there for what, man, like 4.5 years. And pre-pandemic, LA was cool, man. Like when I first moved there, of course, like when I first moved there, it was the excitement of being somewhere different. But yeah, when I first moved there, man, the vibe was cool, man. Like I started doing my business stuff. That was cool. That was taking off. Doing the photo stuff, that was cool. And everything was good until that pandemic happened, man. And then once that pandemic happened, just everything changed. Like, man, everything, like California was like first and shutting everything down. There wasn't nothing to do. There wasn't anywhere to go. Uh so it just got wild, man. And for me, uh man, I just say, I'm a creature of habit. I have my routines, and I do the same thing every day. I switch things up so people don't know exactly what moves I'm gonna make. But I'm a creature of habit. And so yeah, when that pandemic happened, man, it messed me up. And just over time, it took a toll on me mentally. So I I had to make some changes just to get right. You know what I'm saying? Because you can go down into a deep dark hole if if you be having some mental stuff and you don't do something about it, man. It could get bad real quick. So thankfully for me, it wasn't bad. I didn't have any vices. I didn't get into alcohol, drugs, nothing like that. Still was working, doing my thing, but still was enough to where I was just like, yeah, I need something different. So here we are, man, in Vegas.
yeah. Is YouTube a drug though? Is it addictive?
Hey, that's a good question, man. I think real talk. I think for a lot of people, it probably is. Um, but nah, even man, even I really haven't even been doing too much YouTube stuff. Even pre-move me moving here, I mean, I was doing one video a week, and I was doing good to do that.
Yeah.
What up, AP? What up, Chuck? Vegas has less issues with photos and nicer rent cops. Man, from what I heard, it probably isn't as bad as LA, but I'm sure they probably still be on it a little bit. Um, man, hang on a second. I gotta cut my AC on because I'm hot already. These lights on me.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it probably was a good like timing wise, WPPI just occurred. So like making contacts as far as models and um, other photographers that are in Vegas could kind of be like a benefit.
All right. Yeah, it was definitely hot. MPP, we should get some good content now. All the new spots. Hey, yo. Well, first of all, you're gonna get some good content because I have more space where I'm at now. So the room that I'm going live in right now, really room just for this. So um, being able to have your stuff set up to make YouTube videos, like I think people might underestimate, and I know we talk about it all the time, but I think people might underestimate like the amount of time that it takes to set this stuff up. So if you have a space
Yeah.
where you could just have everything set up, your lights, your camera, all that stuff. So all you got to do is basically come in, sit down, turn the camera on. That changes the game, because if you don't have all this stuff set up, I mean, it could take you a half hour to get everything set up. Then if you got to break it back down, I mean, that's 45 minutes to an hour you committing just to set up and tear down. And there's days you like, I don't got that kind of time. So, having a designated space. Now the space you in right now, man, that's just always set up and ready for your YouTube stuff, right?
Yeah, it's always set up, so I don't even have to worry about breaking it down. Because that's like you said, that's one of the most troublesome things having to do. You when you think about light stands, lights, cameras, tripods, then you gotta get your angle right. Then you gotta
Right.
think about the lens you're gonna use. And so when you already have it set up, and then even connecting, like I think you use the same thing. Like you use an actual camera to
Yep.
tap into StreamYard. So it's not like we're using cell phones where we could just pop it up and be like, okay, we're good. It's like, no, you're using a mirrorless camera. So then you got the adapter, then you got to attach that to the computer. And then if you're using the Mac, you're only limited to a certain amount of ports. So now
Hey.
it's a whole meticulous situation where you got all these things you try and feed into it.
Yep. No doubt, man. That is definitely true. And that's why when I was in LA, um, I wasn't, I would do that one video and that was cool, but there would be times where I wanted to, do another video and I had some ideas in mind, but it's like when you only got an hour total, to make the video, everything, having to set stuff up, tear stuff down, man, that kills the whole thing, because you just like, I don't have time for it. So that I this um yeah, I definitely plan to get back to doing my one video a week. But the bigger thing is, I could my videos could be more interactive, because
Yeah.
having more space now I can have different angles, so when I'm talking about something, I can show those angles more so than what I could back at my other place, because y'all never really saw it in the video. But like basically what you saw to my right was my couch, to my left was the wall, the TV, the fireplace, whatever. So that little sliver that y'all saw, that was basically all the space that I had. So trying to figure out, how to show different angles and stuff like that, like it just there really wasn't most of the time I even struggled to even put like a flash there, because the light stand would be almost touching the wall. So it was hard to really get like those angles that I really wanted to show people. And I had there was nowhere else in my place to shoot those videos except for right there. So that limited me a lot. So thankfully now I don't have that restriction. So if I'm saying something about lighting and I'm like, yeah, place your light right here, I could actually show that angle, a side angle of where the light's placed at, how far it is, angle, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited about that. What up, Take Keyz? Yeah, man. What up, Ernesto? I appreciate it, my man. Yeah, let me where's the link? I gotta bear with me. I don't be using this StreamYard too much.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about like my setup is like it's kind of been like that. So I got two dedicated spaces. That's kind of like the beauty, like this office. And honestly, I spend most of my time in here. In my basement, like I literally it's funny because I didn't have any furniture in my basement at first. I was like harping on buying a house that had a basement. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be in my basement. And then like for the first couple of years, I had nothing in my basement.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I went shopping one day and I was like, let me put some furniture in my basement. And then this is before I did photography. So I started decking it out, put the couch, put the TV, everything. Still didn't use my basement. Got into photography and then realized like, yo, I should have left this basement empty because it would have been,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would have just had so much more real estate. But now I
Yep.
want to have this couch in the way. So I'm kind of mad that I even bought that furniture because it could have just been an open space for the photography stuff.
So what would you say is your usable space, length, width? Like what kind of space you working with that's usable?
As far as like for the home studio or
Yeah,
uh
like if you had to say like it was like a, a 10 by 10 or what it is.
oh yeah, so I think I did the measurements one time and it was maybe like 15 by like 25 or something. So
Yeah.
it's not terribly bad because when I use that 70 to 200, I'm pretty far back.
Right,
I'm like
right,
on the
right. So you
other
got
end of
that
my
yeah, you
So
you
I
got
still
that
have
length. So
space. Yeah, I still have space, but I could have just had nothing in my way in terms of like couches where I could have
right,
had even more space to go further back.
right, right. So to put into perspective, the usable space that I had at my place in LA, I had about 8 feet wide, and I think I had maybe 12-ish, 12, thirteen
Oh
feet
yeah.
back. So for me, using the 70 to 200 was
Oh yeah, it wasn't.
almost impossible. I mean, I would have been using it like 70.
Yeah, you
Um,
would have been using it. that
so
that's
yeah, I
interesting
didn't.
because you could have really did like some small home studio photo shoots. I could have sent you one of my models and everything.
Yeah, it actually, doing doing headshots was easy. Doing half body, that's where honestly it starts to get tough because like the biggest problem is that width. Only having 8 feet, you run into a hard time with lights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because the
definitely.
footprint of a light stand, especially if I was like booming the light or something like that, like the footprint is so big. So when you got a couch on one side, and then on the side where my fireplace was at, there was like a little lamp. So even though the wall might have been, right here, I only had, I had to stop right here because that tile was right there. So I couldn't really put a light stand on it. So that was the
Mm,
biggest struggle, was just trying to figure out how to place all my lights and stuff. So yeah, I mean, if anything, you need more width than you do length, because
yeah, yeah.
lengthwise you could use a 35 if you had to. You could use a 24 if you had to. You know what I'm saying? You can work with not having the distance. But when you don't have that width, it's hard to be able to have, your backdrop and then have the lights, especially if you're trying to do, a two light setup, something like that. Uh you need that length. Let me drop this.
Yeah, the one thing, the other thing that I like in like my living room space is kind of like beneficial because I thought about I did do like one session there one time, like maybe like 2 years ago. But the thing I like about that, where it really comes in beneficial, is like my ceiling's like 12, 13 feet high. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could really like boom it if I wanted to. But since I have everything set up downstairs already, it's just kind of like, let me just work
Yep,
with this.
yep.
And that's where it really helps when, I open up that 65-inch umbrella. I really be needing that space overhead to really, get the full advantage of using that
Yeah,
65.
yeah. So MP, the thing about the Varipos are cool. But that's not gonna work if you're trying to boom light. Like they're just, you're not gonna be able to get enough resistance from a Varipole to be able to boom, especially like, if I'm using like these FE 150s, or you're using like an 8400, 8600, and then you put a big modifier on and you're trying to boom that, those Varipoles ain't gonna cut it, man. I would honestly, I would be a little hesitant to even use a Varipole, even if I wasn't booming it. Like for a camera, it'd be fine, but for a light with a decent sized modifier on it, um, man, I would be a little hesitant to even use those Varipoles. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
you can set up two and put a crossbar and then use some clamps and hang it down. But all that work that's set up, that's a lot of work, So
Yeah. Like I could see it that way, and they advertise them for that exact purpose when you have like the crossbar and all that. But I like my Varipole for holding my backdrop. If it's definitely a space saver, but yeah, then you talk about having to get another set of Varipoles and all of that.
yeah. And
Yeah,
I'm like, I try to just use what I have, Like I don't want to necessarily buy something that's just for, one thing. I mean, you could use it for more stuff, but I don't know. I already have light
yeah.
stands, so I'm like, let me just use these light stands that I already have versus getting the varipoles, getting the cross pole, getting the clamps, and then if you need something else, you got to get that. It's like, man, that's a lot of work.
Yo,
Keyz,
What's
you
going
came in
on?
hot. Your kids playing. That was the first thing
boy,
I heard was kids.
boy, I got a whole full house. Kids.
Yeah.
No,
What's going on?
my grandbabies, man, and my daughter.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Just working, trying to get this YouTube algorithm. I know T Mid was
Yeah,
helping me out, boy. That thing. I'm still confused because I just posted another video, T Mid, but it's not getting a lot of likes like that other one. But I think YouTube more worry about natural light than other stuff. It seems like you
Yeah,
get more
they.
views on natural light than off camouflage.
Yeah, I think it sways. So they have a new feature called research and analytics, and you can go into depth and look and see like what's the popular topics right now.
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
The,
it
the
seems,
the YouTube space, man. Keyz, the YouTube space is tough, man. And
okay. I know that's what
it's if you go down that rabbit hole, it's a pretty deep rabbit hole because I mean you can start digging into the analytics and you can start looking at, okay, what days of the week should I post, what time
yeah,
should I post, how long should the video be, what should
yeah,
my cover be, what should my description be, what should the title be, what should my tags be. Man,
yeah,
I'm telling you, like if you let it, man, it'll consume you to the point where it'll take all the fun away from YouTube, man. So my advice is start with making content that you like. Well, it depends on what your goal is. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to, are you trying to get to a point of making money off of YouTube? You trying to get to a point where like
yeah.
you're doing YouTube full time and
Well,
you want to do
that
YouTube
too.
full time?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I want to do
so
both,
see
but
that.
it's kind of hard, like, because I know I was asking T Mid a lot of questions. I know I was getting on his nerves,
Nah,
but
nah.
but
Yeah.
I ain't know what was going on because I posted this video about natural light and my views were popping up. That's the like better views that I ever had. And I just posted another video not too long ago, Friday. It's not getting that many. That's why I'm confused at. And I was asking T Mid about, you think I should just do natural light only or just stick with stuff I know? Because like you
Man,
said, YouTube is hard because you don't
yeah,
know
I,
what
I
topic
wouldn't
you want to do or how you want to shoot and
I
stuff.
wouldn't I wouldn't tell you do natural light only because I don't think that necessarily plays as big of a factor as you think. I think it just sometimes Keyz, like sometimes videos just hit, like just the conditions are just right. Like you drop a
Just right.
video,
Yeah.
it gets in front of enough
Yeah,
people. YouTube is like, oh, people watching this video, they push it to more people. Like sometimes your video just lands at just the right time, or
okay,
the topic is just the right
yeah,
topic, or it's things where it's just like you can have a video that smashes and you try to replicate that and you spend years trying to get that same
yeah,
success with another video and you don't always get that's YouTube. Like you can look at people's YouTube channel, they could have 500,000 subscribers and you look at their video and it might have 10,000 views and it's like this is somebody that's got 500,000 subs but they only got 10,000 views and these are big channels.
yeah,
So that just goes to
Yeah.
show that it's like even these big channels, like they not getting you know, 50, 60, 70% of their subs watching their videos. That's just the way that it goes.
Right.
Unless it's gear related or some of the other things that people are all into, like the photography stuff. In my opinion, like they're never really gonna hit. Like I feel like even like like a Jessica Kobasi type, like her average videos, like they do good numbers, but for how many subs she have and how known she is, you would think she would have way more hits on her vids than she does. But that's just the way YouTube is, man.
Yeah. Plus, she's switching over doing like a lot of vlog stuff. So
Yeah,
That's
well,
where it's
because
at. I'm telling you, man.
they full-time YouTubers, and that's the thing. Like when you're trying to do YouTube full-time, you do got to play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have any aspiration to do YouTube full-time, so I can do a video of whatever I want to do and not worry about it.
right.
But if you try to do it full-time, you're gonna have to play the game, and you're gonna have to start, doing some content that gets views, but still have that Keyz touch on it though.
Yeah. But I know T-Man would tell me, like, give me some pointers about the analytics. I ain't know what that is. I ain't know nothing. Like I said, the views would like shock me. Now I like what I need to do, like creating and stuff. Do I need to do like natural light, or do I need to do like all camouflage, or like in between? So I was like confused at that.
Yeah, I think.
I mean,
like I spread my stuff out. Like, man, you might see me changing the tire on my channel at one point, just because you never know. Like, when you put your personality into it, I think it makes people relate to you more. So that's why a lot of my stuff been like vlog style type photo shoots and vlogs, because I really like doing vlogs.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm a piggyback off of that, and I'm a touch on something that I didn't talk about when this was real big, but that's a really great point. So I'm gonna tie that in with the whole FJH situation, and how he was upset because Sony wasn't pushing him, and I feel like his biggest problem was that he was good at what he did, but he did the same thing every single time. Like every image is exactly the same. Every video was exactly the same. And now that's not necessarily a bad thing, but when it comes to attention retention and people wanting to watch your stuff, if you putting out the same content every single time you put out content, people gonna get tired of that content. You know what I'm saying? Because especially for us photographers, a lot of people that watch our videos are other photographers, right? That's just the reality of it, or people that's into photography. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not really necessarily getting like a ton of non-photography related people watching our videos. So if you putting out the same type of video every single time, after a while, people gonna be like, I'm not, like, it's the same old thing. Like I'm not learning anything. I'm not getting inspired. It's the same stuff. And I think that was FJH's downfall. Like Sony might have looked at his stuff and be like, your stuff is great. Like technically it's great. Your photos are great. But what else do you have? You're giving us the same thing over and over and over. Like we need some diversity in your work. Yeah. So for you, when it comes to your YouTube stuff, you might be good at what you're doing and you might like doing that. But I think if you really want to see growth, you got to have some diversity, because the people that are subbing to your channel, if they're seeing the same thing every time you post a video, they're not really going to be excited when you post a video, because they're going to know exactly what it is. You don't want it to be like, oh, it's Keyz. He's going to be in the studio. He's going to have a model. He's going to shoot. This is what his video layout is going to be. You got to spice that up and you got to have some diversity. So every time when Keyz drop a video and you get a notification, you don't know what kind of video it's going to be. So you're going to go hit it up and you're going to watch that video because you want to see what Keyz dropping today. You don't want it to be where it's like, oh, I get a notification. I already know what that's going to be. I don't feel like watching that video today. And then that's how you get subs as well, right? Because your views and your subs are two different things. People can watch your video and like content in your video, but not like it enough to where they're inspired enough to want to sub to your channel. So then that's where what Mid is saying, where you put some of you into it, that's where you get the subs. Because like the videos, people like the videos, but videos isn't enough to make somebody sub to you. Like I could watch a video and be like, that's a good video, but it doesn't mean I'm going to subscribe to their channel. When they put like themselves in the video and I feel like I'm getting to know them as a person, those are the ones that I want to subscribe to, just because there's more interest there. There's more to it than just that video stuff.
Yeah, I did that. So this last video I just post, getting in front of the camera, man, boy, that's hard. And talking, that's hard.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
hard. That is
It gets
hard.
it gets easier the more you do it.
Oh, yeah, that's what the same thing Ike said. You got to keep on doing it. But I did it.
Yeah,
It's my second time doing this. No, yeah, third time doing this. Boy, it's hard. But
yeah, yeah.
you got to keep on
You
doing it.
definitely
But
just have to keep doing it. And my advice on that also is you just got to push through, because like you're gonna mess up. You're not gonna get it perfect, and if you try to get it to where it's perfect, at least for me, it'll drive you crazy, because you'll be saying something, you'll make a mistake, then you're like, oh, I got to redo it. So then you do it, make a mistake, oh, I got to redo it, and you do that enough, you're gonna be like, I don't even want to make this video no more.
So that's the thing, is trying to get in front of the camera, talk more. So I just did that last video, but man, and then trying to do voice overlay too, but I'm working on that. I'm working on that, because it's more stuff I want to do, like watching y'all videos and stuff. So it's a lot I want to do.
It takes time. Like go watch any one of our channels and go back to our earlier videos and look at how bad those videos are, bro. So
I saw that,
time, man.
I saw that, boy.
Them earlier vids, boy, they're not great, So it takes time, man. You just gotta just keep putting that content out, and just
I think
it's a marathon,
especially like, man, I'm always intrigued, like when I go back and watch my stuff, because when I started my channel, I was no photographer at all. So you literally like see my growth in my channel from start to where I'm at now, where I just literally picked up the camera. I was like, man, I'm gonna do BTS. I didn't know anything technical or anything, but I put that video together and it's up there.
yeah.
But back what you saying, like I know you saying something about small space. I know you said you were doing like photography in a small space. So I mean, when I started, I got a barn. I made it to a photography, like a studio thing, photography studio. I still got the barn in the back, but now I got me a building. I always want a building for more space. So I started small too. So where you was.
It's definitely hard having a small space, but at the end of the day, you gotta just do what you gotta do. You gotta make it work.
No excuses, man. No excuses. I still got the barn, but where I started was outside, and then I said, man, I need a space, so I got me a barn, made it to a studio, and then when I couldn't really do like big families, the only way to do big families, I had to do it outside. So I was like, man, I need me a building, man. I need me a big building. So so later on, I got me a big building so I could do like family stuff. So I'm with you with that. So I know where you coming from with that small stuff. I know that.
Yep, yeah, definitely. Man, just playing around with this here because I don't know how to use this StreamYard stuff. So forgive me here.
Oh, it's easy. I love my StreamYard.
Yeah, I
got the 20. I think I got the $20 one.
Yeah,
why the StreamYard?
I don't use it enough, but
I was like pinging off of the views not matching the subscribers. It's really interesting because it really does take a decent amount of things for people to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to subscribe to this person. I don't know about you, Tog, but like, even the first 100 subscribers for me was really, really tough to get. And when I look back, I kind of understand why it was tough for me to get those subscribers, because the quality of my work wasn't really at a photographer's stance at that point, you know. So it was really like I was really grinding at that point to try to get to something where people really was like, oh man, I could take this, I could learn from this, I can, you know, take this and do something with it versus you know, like I say, what 2021, I still had under 1,000 subs, you know. So it literally like in the last year and what I guess almost like year and a half is like when everything kind of like started coming together.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, my YouTube journey was actually kind of interesting because when I started my channel, uh man, I don't even remember what the first 100 subs was like because I think I dropped like, man, like 3, 4 videos and then I went on a hiatus. And that daggone umbrella versus softbox video that is like my biggest video of all time in my arsenal. I was getting subs off of that video, and I wasn't even doing anything on YouTube. Like I was away from YouTube for like 3 or 4 years, and I was just getting subs off of that video, which blew my mind because I'm like, how would they sub? Like if they look and saw I haven't dropped a video in 2 years, like, what are they subbing for?
Yeah.
So I don't even remember like the first 100, but then once I got back to YouTube, you know, I was basically starting all over again because a majority of the subs that I had starting like early 2021, I really didn't do anything to get those subs. Like they literally came off of that one video. And man, at that point, I didn't even know if they was still rocking with my channel, if it was even still on YouTube. So basically, when I started in
Yeah.
2021, like I felt like I was starting over again. So yeah, it definitely has been a grind since then. I just, you know, I'm just making videos just because I want to make videos, you know. So it's like what my videos do, it doesn't concern me too much. Like I do try to look at the analytics and excuse me and try to get some views, but I don't care as much because I'm not trying to go full time with it. So
Yeah, so when you what does it entail for somebody to get, you know, those views? What type of grind? What type of grind is that, like making the video and, you know, trying to get the views and the subscribers?
I'm gonna tell you the worst part about making YouTube videos. The by far the worst part is you make a video, you put a lot of effort, a lot of work into it, you make it that video is production wise is on point, and you drop that video and you don't get views on it. That's the most
Yeah.
disheartening thing making videos, you know, because obviously we are making videos so people watch them. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not putting in all this work just for ourselves. If that was the case, we wouldn't post it. We would just make them and keep them on a hard drive somewhere, and that's that. So it's like putting
Yeah.
in all that work and making those videos, and then you put it out there and it doesn't get the views. That makes YouTube really tough. And you know, when you're a smaller channel, especially when you're starting right now, because so many people do YouTube right now. Like YouTube is huge. And once people start realizing that you can make a lot of money off of YouTube, everybody wanted to be a YouTuber, right? So it's even harder for those smaller channels to gain any kind of traction and pick up and go. And so I think, you know, if you coming into the game right now and you got a smaller channel right now, you got to start looking at what can I do different than everybody else to
Mhm.
make me stand out from
Yeah.
everybody else,
That's
because
the key right there.
everybody's a YouTuber now. So if you're
That's the
putting out the same content that everybody else is putting out, people not going to watch your stuff. And if people not watching your stuff, YouTube not going to push your stuff. So you know, you got to find a way to do something different, and that goes back to T Mid's point about putting more of you into it, because there's only one you. So if you put more of yourself into it, then people will subscribe to that more so than just the video content itself. So yeah, I mean, trying to get those views in 2022, yeah, I feel like you fight for every view, man. Like you seriously, you fight for every view.
Oh yeah.
Well, my thing is my heart. Well, I ain't gonna say hardest. I would say like finding a topic to go with the video. That's trying to like get the topic, best topic,
What do you mean by topic?
like for your YouTube videos. Like trying to
Yeah,
come
so
up with
like
trying to come up with a topic so everybody like can go watch it and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
They said, cause
what
I know they said if you had the best like thumbnail, the topic, and something else, they said that would draw the people and stuff.
yeah, I mean, it
So
definitely helps.
That's what they
I would
saying.
say, and yeah, like it's definitely good clickbait, but
Yeah,
good content to follow is important. But I like one thing that I figured out is like knowing your audience. Like for a long time, I was always looking at my analytics, and I would post at like 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time because that's when it said all my viewers were online. Well, the past couple months, I would drop a video at 2 a.m. in the morning on Eastern Standard Time. It still get views by the time I wake up because my audience was like Africa, Europe, where they like 7 hours ahead. So I figured that I was like, oh man, like I have an audience other than the US. So it actually kind of worked out. So if you notice, like Toglife would be like, man, you just dropped a video 2 a.m. your time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like I just figured out like, oh man, people on totally different time schedules.
And see, and so then to put that in contrast, see, I don't have that audience, So if I was to drop a video at 2 a.m. my time, I wouldn't wake up to any views on that video. It's like a lot of my videos, I get more views like in the 9 to 12 o'clock a.m. range than what he gets. So, it is key to definitely look at those analytics and kind of look at when are people watching your videos. And that's when you want to drop videos, and also look at, days where they seem a little slow, like the days where people aren't really putting out videos. Those are the days where I try to drop videos, because if there's not a whole lot of content out there, then that means there's people looking for something to watch. So if I can put something out there when the video game is slow, especially in the photography space, then my videos do pretty good. If I'm putting out a video where some heavy hitters, a bunch of heavy hitters are dropping videos, then mine kind of gets pushed to the back, and YouTube doesn't push that too much.
Right. So what was what's the best day to post? Or you
got to look at your analytics, man.
Okay.
And just kind of see when your viewers are watching. Because for me, like there's certain days where I have more people view stuff than other days. So you got to look at that on a consistent basis too. Like it's not like, oh, you look at it 2 months ago and that's just it changes, man. So I almost look at it every week when I post a video, just to kind of see what's the best time for me to post that video this week.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I got that.
Mr. Ernesto, what's happening, my man?
Hey, what's going on? I just wanted to jump on here really quick because this was a great subject.
Oh, first of all, hold up. You killed that interview at the radio station.
Oh, well.
I like that, boy.
I appreciate you tuning in for that. I want to say something really quick, and then I have to drive my wife. I'm going to still tune in, listen, and everything, but I just wanted to say this really quick before I drop my wife to get something to eat. So in terms of YouTube, I've been doing YouTube for a while, not intentionally, but I just been doing it for a while. And what I found is that over time, well, I would say this, the advice that was given to me in the past was basically, if you want to grow your channel and you want to be, doing this for a living, like Anthony, he's not looking to do this for a living. I'm not looking to do this for a living. But I'm just posting it because I just want to document my journey, right? But if you're looking to do this for a living, right? The advice was given to me in the past is that do videos that is gear related, because people are always looking to search based on, what the latest camera is, what's the latest lens, whatever. They'll find your videos that way because people are using YouTube as a big search engine. And if you can make your videos geared towards something that someone is looking for, then they will find your video. And then, as like T-Mid said, if your personality holds them, then they're going to subscribe to your channel, But if gear is not your thing, like gear, I hate doing videos about gear. I cannot stand talking about gear. So if that's not your thing, and you can't sustain that, then what happens is people will come to your channel, got hooked on the gear video, and then you can't, you know, produce videos on gear, and now you're kind of stuck in that lane, and then you're gonna hate creating videos, right? So I would say do videos that you love. First of all, you know, if you love it, you're gonna continue to make it. If you don't love it, you're gonna hate making those videos. So do something that you love. Me personally, I like to inspire people. I like to educate people. And it's just basically, that's just what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing in terms of my documentation, because the way I view it is that I want to look back on my videos to teach me, to inspire me. And if it could do that for me, hopefully it could do that for somebody else. You know what I mean? So I would say do that first. But if you want to grow, gear videos, or, you know, do an awesome thumbnail with you know, those sheets, and you're good to go. So that's all I wanted to say really quick, fellas.
Appreciate it.
Hey, yeah, definitely appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Take care.
You too. Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, gear videos always hit. You know, because people like gear videos. You know, I think, and I don't do gear videos either. Like I don't really talk about gear. I don't even use half the gear that I got myself. But the thing that I do feel like about gear, and maybe what I need to start doing more of, is, you know, you can talk about gear, you can have your gear video, but still kind of incorporate it into, you know, your portrait videos. So like T-Mid is really good with that. When you look at any of his videos where he's doing portrait stuff, in the title of his video and in that video, he always has, you know, the camera, the lens, all of these things. Yeah. So he's kind of getting the best of both worlds, where, okay, let's say somebody's, you know, searching, you know, the Nikon Z7 II, they're going to see his video. Now, when it comes to, if you looking to get a camera, if you're looking to get gear, you're going to watch the video to get the tech specs. But really, at the end of the day, you want to know, how does that gear perform? If you're looking at a camera, how does that camera perform? What type of pictures does it do? What is the autofocus like? All of those things. People are going to want to watch that video. Like, once you got all your text down, now it's like, okay, what can that actually do? So if you got a video like Mid, where you got a portrait video and you're putting all of that content in your title and your video, people are going to want to watch that video, because they're going to want to see, what does the Z7 II, what does the files look like? What does the colors look like? Those are things that, you know, your talking head video is not going to answer those questions. So you can kind of do the gear stuff without it just being just, oh, let me just sit here and talk about gear. It's like, nah, I mean, do your portrait stuff, but kind of focus it around gear. Do some research and say, okay, what are people searching of with the camera that I'm using? You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, you know, I got the R5. Like, back when the R5, when the overheating thing was big, you could do a video where you're doing video and showing people that, yo, look at what I'm doing, and I'm not getting overheating stuff. Like, that stuff is going to gain traction because people want to see that sort of thing. Yeah. You know, so you could do gear stuff without it having to be super just gear oriented. But he's right, though. If you drop that gear video and you get a bunch of subs off of that gear video, that's probably all they care about, gear. Yeah. So you start making your portrait video, they're gonna be like, what is this? Like, I don't care about this portrait stuff. Like, I just want to know about gear. So yeah, you do have to be careful with that. Yeah, you don't want to box yourself in.
Yeah, unless like you said, unless you like gear.
Yeah, if you're a gear person. And you know, some people like doing gear because I think for a lot of introverts, gear videos are great, you know, because it doesn't involve you you know, having to interact with anybody. You know, it's kind of the zone that you like. You just get to be by yourself and you get to talk about gear. So for a lot of introverts, like, that's key. Like, they love gear stuff. But yeah, and if you go with gear, you don't want to box yourself in. So then that's where, you know, your personality really comes in, because like Mid was saying, vlogging is huge. Like, people, and I don't get it because I don't care enough about people to watch their vlogs, but you know, a lot of these vloggers, I've stumbled across some channels where it'll be just like, you know, a young couple, and they'll each have a channel, and they each got, you know, 1 million subs, and people be watching their stuff every time they put a video. And I'll watch the video, and it'll be like, you know, they wake up, well, I just woke up. I think I need to go to the store today. I kind of been thinking I want some chicken, so I'll probably
Right.
pick up. And, I'm just thinking like, who would watch this? Like, I don't care, but people watch it. You know what I'm
Well, my
saying? And
thing
people
is,
get
all
hooked
them
to their
subs real?
personality.
All them subs
Say,
real, or are they fake?
I mean, it could be a mixture of, but I think a of them are probably legit. People just are really interested in other people's lives. And once you have somebody where you like their personality and you watch enough of their videos to
Yeah.
the point where you feel like you know them, then it's no different than somebody that you actually know. Let's say you on social media and your cousin, whoever, they post something, like you're interested in it because that's your fam. You like, oh man, they went to the park today. You're interested. You're gonna look at it. If they post a video, you're gonna watch the video. It's the same thing with these people, man. Like once you get to a point where you feel like you know them, you're interested in their everyday life, man.
That's true. And that's why on my side I kind of took an angle where I was like, okay, I started getting traction on like my photography stuff. So I was like, let me take this time to include what I like doing, you know, which was the vlogging piece. So I think WPPI. The first day I was there, I made a vlog. It was like same day I recorded the vlog, I edited the vlog, me and Toglife, and I was like, all right, let me put this out there. It didn't have anything like portrait wise in there. It was just literally just how the day went, and put it out there, and it did good. But
Yeah,
it
I
was like,
remember.
go ahead.
I was just about to say, I remember you put that video out, and it made me realize that the little bit of vlog footage that I had was never gonna see the light of day. Because I was like, man, I'm not even about to be able to put out nothing even a tenth as good as this man's video. So I put that footage in the archive and was like, that footage is gone. I ain't doing nothing with that. Yeah. Yeah, no,
It
Robin had a good
definitely
point
takes
that I
some
just
work.
wanted to touch on, though, where he
Uh-huh.
said if your video is educational, people get something useful out of it or super fun and entertaining, then somehow it will work. And that's very much true. It's like if your videos are educational or they're entertaining, that's what people will watch. If your videos are like everybody else's videos, or if they're dry, if they're boring, if people aren't getting anything from it, uh, they're not going to watch it. So
Yeah, it was a point where my videos would get critiqued a lot, when I first started, and then the critiques started going down, and then it was just more so of like, man, this is great. I love it. I love it. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like a turning point of being able to take all the bad comments on the chin.
right, right. Okay, so speaking of critique, I want to segue into something because I saw something a few days ago and it was on my mind. And since you mentioned the word critique, and just made me think of it. So when it comes to critique, what is your guys' opinion on people critiquing work and their work not being as strong in someone's opinion as the work that they're critiquing? Do you feel like people can critique work even if their work is not up to par with the work that they're critiquing?
For me, I believe I'm open to all. And actually it's funny because I'm making a video where I put a photo out to people randomly and I let them critique it. And so a lot of them was telling me like up front, like, I'm not in this genre of photography, but if I had to add my 2 cents, this is what I would say. And so the reason why I take the critique into perspective is because I feel like they always looking at it from a different angle than I am. So they is always can be informative just to hear what somebody else say. And even if they're not even a photographer, like, all right, look at this photo. Anything pop out? Anything you would do different? They might not know lighting wise, but they might be able to tell you like, oh, on this edit, the leg looks darker than the arm, or maybe you could change this on her shoe because it looks like it's too big. So maybe you could edit that somehow. So I'm open to that, but knowing that in the back end too, I always filter out people's critiques. I'm always like, I'm open to accept it, but then I'm also like, nah, that's kind of my style, so it's gonna stay like that,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a definitely a good take, and I think I'm the same. Like I don't feel like so let me backtrack. When it comes to critique, the thing that I like most about critique, especially from people that aren't photographers or maybe that they're not strong photographers, is that they're just normal people, right? And so as portrait photographers, who are our clients? For most of us, our clients are normal people, right? So if I put a photo out and I get feedback from just what normal people see, to me that's more valuable than feedback that I'm getting from other photographers, because I don't work for other photographers. Like my clients aren't other photographers. So a photographer can look at it and be like, oh wow, my camera's doing that. Photographer can look at it and be like, oh, this lighting is off, this is this and that. Client can look at it and not see any of that stuff, but they'll see something that maybe me as a photographer or another photographer didn't see. And that's more important to me because I want my clients to be happy. Like I don't care about pleasing other photographers. Like other photographers' opinions, I mean, I definitely take them to heart for sure. And as a photographer, someone can tell me something and I can be like, oh yeah, I see that. I messed up on that shoot, or nah, this was the vision that I had, or this is what I was trying to do, but I see your point. But for me, it's like I want to make sure my clients is happy. So I care more about what the average person is saying that maybe can't even shoot the photo the way that I shot it. But if like Mid said, if they look at it and was like, yeah, I noticed that like the leg is a lot darker than the arm, that's the stuff that I want to see, because I would rather fix that, because I don't want my client to see that. And that's what they're talking about. They're not going to look at it and be like, oh, man, there's no catch lights, or oh, the lighting is a little harsh, or they're not saying that. So
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I
That's
think
true.
it always kind of bothers me a little bit when people's first response, and you see this all the time in the forum, when people's first response when somebody critiques their work, and sometimes people do come sideways, right? Like I'm not talking about the people that be coming sideways and just be like they're not offering anything constructive, they're just talking, being
Yeah,
trolls.
just
But
trashing you. Yeah.
right. But there's people that'll come constructively, and the first response is, well, let me see your work. And it's just like, as photographers, we got to stop doing that, because it's not a competition. It's not like, oh, well, your opinion only matters if your work is, in my opinion, as long as, not a good way to think. You know what I'm saying? Because that's very closed-minded. And just because someone's work may not be as good as yours doesn't mean that they can't give you a viewpoint that you didn't think about. And you could look at something different and be like, wow, man, I never thought of it that way, never looked at it that way. I appreciate the insight. And like Mid is saying, take what you want. You know what I'm saying? Somebody says something, you're
Yeah.
like, cool, I appreciate you pointing that out. It doesn't mean you have to change anything, but at least take it, look at your stuff, and decide what you want to do with it from there.
So if you want to critique someone, if all right, so like say you in the YouTube space and you want to critique somebody to help them grow. How what angle do you take to do that? Because
Man,
it
so
could kind of ruffle feathers.
that and that's tough. And I think there's always like a fine line between uh volunteering your help and just kind of staying on the sidelines and just maybe waiting for them to reach out to you. I think in this day and age, I think a lot of people are not very receptive to people giving their thoughts and criticism on stuff, and people take things very personal, which I get, because I understand the amount of work that we put into these YouTube videos. So, you put a lot of work
Right.
into it, especially if you finesse it exactly how you want it. And then somebody comes back and they're like, yeah, this, that, and the other. You do take that personal. Um, but it's tough, because it's like I always try to help people, and like I know where like I started with things. So if I see something like made the same exact mistake, like I did that same thing in my early days, you want to help people, but a lot of people just aren't receptive to that. So I normally err on the side of not saying anything. And if somebody reaches
Mm,
out to me and asks for my opinion on something, then I'll give it. But I think I've been burned so many times just, trying to constructively help people, and they're not very receptive to it, to the point where I'm like, well, then that's fine. It's like if someone wants my opinion, they can ask for it. Otherwise, I'll just keep it to myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about that because from a subscriber standpoint, I know how I'm viewed from a subscriber's standpoint, like people like the work that I put out and things like that. And it wasn't always like that, right? Like that happened over time to the point where people started knowing who I was and people started liking the work and things like that. And that really started translating through, comments and interactions like WPPI, where I'm like running into people that know who I am and the work that I do, which was cool, and kind of reinforces like, oh man, like I'm doing this for a purpose. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, let me keep going. But then from the YouTube creator side, fellow YouTube peers, you kind of sit back and think like, all right, how do they view you as a creator? If you don't have a certain amount of subscribers, or you don't have a certain amount of views, because honestly, sometimes I think it can be one-sided from a YouTube content creator's perspective when you look at the numbers, because we understand how much work goes into it behind the scenes. So when you look at like, all right, yeah, they don't have like the most subscribers ever, but we understand how that subscriber game goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus you get views, but it takes a little bit more for people to subscribe, and almost like a domino effect. I feel like once you get to a certain point, then I hear like they start to pour in more and more and more, which I did see within the last year. Going from, I think I had like 700 something at the end of 2021, and then now just about to hit 5,000. So it really jumped within that year. So
Yeah, see, but
what do
I
you
think
think?
what also did that for you though, and as YouTubers, what does it is, once you start gaining that traction, then you have the momentum to keep putting content out. So they kind of
Mhm.
go hand in hand. It's like if you're putting out a video and you're not getting views, it makes it hard to keep putting out videos. But on the flip side, if you put out a video and it does good, you put out another video, it does better. You put out another video, it does even better. Now you have like that momentum and that motivation to keep putting out content, because you want to keep that snowball growing. So
Yeah.
it gets
Definitely want
easier
the snowball
the
to
more
keep
you
rolling.
do it. Right. Like once it's rolling, you like, I don't want to stop this. So you put out more content, but you also putting out more content, and you don't mind putting out that content because you're actually getting views on that content. So it's like your work and your time is not in vain. So yeah, I think it's sometimes it's hard to differentiate between a hater and somebody that is just legitimately trying to help you. And I do think that,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, especially in today's day and age, I think the word hater is overused. I think if you don't like something about something, someone, whatever, people want to call you a hater. And I think that's ridiculous. If I'm like, yo, T Mid, I don't like your hat. Oh, you just a hater. No, I just don't like your hat. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like it's no deeper than that. Like I just, you just don't like something. And I think people are
Hold
so
on, you
quick to
really don't
remove
like my
crap.
hat? Hold on.
No, 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 no.
I don't
No,
That
like
was
it.
just
I'm
an
joking.
example.
I'm joking
I
with you.
don't
I'm
like.
joking with
It's Tar Heels over. It's Tar Heels over here. I don't
Yeah,
like
no,
that
that
hat.
was just an example. Nah, your hat's good,
Look,
but
hey, that's my alma mater right there,
right,
man.
right. You gotta represent. I'm representing Ohio State up here.
But yeah, I'm always, like you said, I'm always learning. So anybody could tell me what I need to like do better or grow. I'm really to learn and grow and stuff like that. So I'm always wanting to
See,
learn.
but Keyz, here's where you'll be tested though. See, it's easy to have that frame of mind when you're at the beginning. You know, as you start to grow and you start to feel like, you know, you on a roll and you got
Yeah,
stuff where
like
you
you
want it to
like
be, that's where it gets harder to keep that humble attitude and be like, yo, like I'm always open to learn, I'm always open to growth, because when you learn it, you don't really know. So you looking for guidance, right? So people giving you that information, like you see that as guidance. But once you get to a point where you feel like you don't need guidance anymore and you know what you're doing, that's where it gets a lot harder when somebody is coming in and they critiquing your work. You take it a lot more personal because you feel like, yo, like I know what I'm doing over here. Like this is it, like I got this, and you
yeah,
telling me XYZ. That's where it gets a lot harder. And I think that's where we just need to continue to be humble and just say, you know, we're
yeah.
always learning. Like no matter how good you are, you can always keep learning. Like there's always going to be a perspective that you did not think of, and someone can give you that
Always.
perspective, and it's like, cool, now I can do something a little different with my videos or with my photography. Like that's how I try to look at it. Like not like, oh, you're trying to tell me how to do what I do or you think you're better. It's like, oh, this is just another way for me to do something different. You know, like to me it's a win. But I do think sometimes people are very envious, and you know they're just saying stuff because you're in a position where maybe they want to be in that position. You know, so that's where your haters do come in. So just trying to just differentiate between somebody that's just truly trying to give you some critique versus somebody that's just hating. You know, it's not always easy to tell the difference.
You know, it's interesting that you put the piece on, like, you know, you want to be where somebody else is, because you know you're always looking at that point where you're like, man, I can't wait till I get to that point, or you know what I mean, and always looking, you know. So
Yep.
even when I started, I was just looking like, man, I at least just want to start getting 100 views. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 100 views. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. So you know the,
It-
the crazy thing is that was your mindset where you started. That is my mindset today. Like if
Yeah.
I put a video today and I get 100 views on that video, for me that is success. Like I am happy with that. Like all I need is 100 views, and I'm like, cool. I hit 100 views. Like I am excited about that. So it's interesting how everybody has, you know, their different perspective of what success looks like when it comes to this YouTube thing. You know what I'm saying? Where me, it's like 100 views, I'm happy. Where, you know, mid, it might be I want 1,000 views. If I don't hit 1,000 views, then that one didn't hit as hard as I wanted to. You know, so it just, you know, everybody's journey is different, and what you need out of YouTube to consider a success is different.
yeah, that's true. But so what as far as that time crunch, how do you get over uh being able to keep creating content even when the views not coming? Like what motivated you to keep
uh,
creating content?
I think for me, um, I had to come to the realization that YouTube, it's a marathon. Like that is just the reality of it. Like unless you are the lottery winner to where you put out a video and it goes viral, uh, outside of those lottery winners, it's the marathon. So if you want to make it to the proverbial finish line, you have to just stay the course, right? Like if you're running a marathon and you start that first mile, you're running a 6 minute mile. And then, you know, mile two, you still at 6 minute, mile three, you still at 6 minute, but mile four, you drop to 6.5, mile five, you at 6.25. If you focus too much on that 1 mile, then you get in your own head and you start to say, like, man, I got to do more. I got to do more. So what do? On mile six, you start sprinting because you like, man, I'm behind on my pace. I got to get that back. So you sprint on
Yeah,
mile six. What happens on mile seven? You start getting winded. Mile eight, you tired. Mile nine, you struggling. Mile 10, you don't even think you can make it, and you're not even halfway. So, you know, when it comes to YouTube, for me, it's like if I drop that video and there's no views, to me, it's like, don't panic. You know what I'm saying? Like you got 20
yeah,
more miles to go. Like you need to catch up in this mile right here. Like you got more time. Just keep doing what you're doing, keep your pace, and you'll get to where you need to be at the end. So that's how I look at YouTube these days. It's like If something drops and it don't hit, it's like, cool. I try to look at it and I say, okay, what could I have done different in that video? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I'll drop a video that I didn't have a lot of time to make, and it'll be just like a talking head video that doesn't really have any B-roll, doesn't really have any content to make it very interesting. So when a video like that doesn't do that great, it's like, okay, I know why. Like I didn't put a whole lot of production into that video, so I can't expect it to do very well. So okay, the next video, I just got to make sure that I put a little bit more production into that video. So that's just how I try to look at it, you know.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way though. I guess I just keep on posting and stuff like that. So I'm only thing I was worrying about is like views and subs. Where my subs gonna come from, or how many views I gonna get. Like I told T-Me, I was shocked about that other video, that natural light. I got eight something views on that, but I still got like 271 it subs. But like you just said, just keep on posting, keep on doing.
Yeah, man, it's you know, subs are hard to get. It's easy to get views. It's very hard to get subs. There are videos that I watch and content creators that I watch that I haven't subscribed to yet, just because, you know, they'll have a video that's interesting, but then, you know, the next 2 or 3 videos, like I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm not really too interested in that. And subscribing to a channel, it really isn't that big of a deal in terms of doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we put a lot more thought into it than we really should. Like just click the freaking button, and if somebody drops a video that y'all like, just don't watch the video.
Just don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Yeah, you know, but I mean, human nature is there's something about subscribing to a channel. There's something about following a profile that it's like subconsciously, if we do that, it's like we're subscribing to that person and we're a little hesitant. Like if we don't feel like we really vibing with that person, we like, nah, I don't want to give him my sub. You know, it's like subscribers and followers is like the equivalent of like, you know, giving your virginity. You like, I don't know. I don't think I want to get that to that person. Like, no, I don't know about all that.
But my main goal is like getting 1,000. I want to get to it close to it. I mean, get to 1,000. Once I hit that 1,000, I'll be happy. And then I want to go ahead and get that watch hour so I get monetized. That's the main key I want. Like my goal is to get that. So like you said, I just got to keep on posting, keep on doing something, probably something different.
Well, I can tell you right now, when you get to 1,000 subs, you're gonna be happy for a day or two, and then you're gonna be like, okay, now I want 1,500. You're gonna get to 1,500. You're gonna be like, man, all right, now I want 2,000. It never stops, man. Like you celebrate it for a day, and then it's on to the next goal, which is cool. I mean, that's really what it should be. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate your successes, and then move on to the next goal. So
that's what my goal is. Like I want to get that watch hour and go ahead and get that 1,000. So that's why I got to keep on pushing.
Most so for you, Todd, which was it? Like, did you have the subscribers first and not the watch hours, or did you have both of them and you just didn't do it, or which one came first for you?
Yeah, no, I think I had the subs. So I got the subs, like I said, from that one video. But then once I got back into YouTube in 21, I did not have the watch hours. So I had to. But by the time I got to a point of monetizing my channel, because for a long time I had no interest or desire in monetizing my channel. I wasn't necessarily against it, but I had no desire to do it. But then I realized that was just kind of silly, because if I'm taking the time to make the videos and I can monetize, like I might as well. So at the point that I decided to monetize, I already had both the subs and the watch hours, because I was making YouTube videos again before I even got anywhere close to even thinking about monetizing. But then I had the issue of they wouldn't approve my channel. So, I mean, it took me, I think it was either 3 or 4 times to get monetized. And the only reason I even had success was because I reached out to them on Twitter, because I kept getting the same response of, you know, we couldn't approve it, but they don't, like, everything from YouTube is so vague. And so I didn't even have success until I reached out to them on Twitter and was like, I just need y'all to give me a better understanding of what about my channel isn't meeting your requirements. And they never actually told me, they just approved me. So
Approved it.
yeah, so I mean, that's the struggle, and I think, maybe it just was, I just wasn't putting out enough consistent content at the time. Like now, I'm putting out a video every week. It's consistent. You can know what my channel is about. I wasn't doing that back then, so maybe they didn't like that. But then that's where you start looking at other people's channels, and it's like, yo, like I've been on other people's channels that are monetized, and I don't see how their channel is any different than my channel. Like, how come I'm not getting this? So I don't know if MPP is in here still, but he had asked a question about, YouTube pushing so many ads. And so I did want to touch on that, because I do think YouTube pushes a lot of ads. Like, and they started doing that once they started doing the YouTube Premium. That's just the way it go. It's like it's anybody. If they offer you something to get rid of ads, they're gonna push more ads just to get you to buy the thing to not have ads. So they definitely
Yeah.
did that. But the second part is, as creators, we control what ads we have in our video. Now, I typically don't do it because I don't care enough about the ads, but we do have the option to put ads wherever we want to put ads, and we can put however many ads in a video. Like if it's at least 8 minutes long, we can put whatever ads at whatever point we want to put in our videos. So I do think there's content creators out there that really utilize that and really push a lot of ads in their videos. So if you're watching a 20-minute video and there's 8 ads, that probably was the content creator that put those 8 ads there and not YouTube. So it's hard to know. Like, YouTube is going to put in what they want to put in, but content creators can put in ads literally at whatever point they want to put them in. So yeah, I mean, for those ads, every ad that gets shown to somebody, even if you click, skip, we make some pennies off of that. So some people will want to push more ads just to make more money off of those videos. So like when it comes to your stuff, Mid, and you don't have to dive too deep into it and unveil your secrets, but do you customize your ads, or do you just let YouTube do whatever they do?
So most of the time I I I let it do what it do, but sometimes, like we talked about it before, knowing your audience. So sometimes I know when I have a video that's going to hit, and
Hmm.
so when I know I have that video that's going to hit, then I customize the ads because I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
I'm going to get the views on it.
yep, yep,
And so that's kind of how I play it. It's like after a while you can kind of understand, like, okay, I got the right recipe for this video to get the views. So
right,
I might as well customize my ads right here. And then on the other end is like getting into the CPMs. You make more money per view and whatnot on certain content. So, like when I did a DIY video, like that one was like 30 minutes long, but of course people gonna watch it because they want to get the finished product at the end of the day. So like that one I would customize in pretty much any really long video that I feel like
yeah.
has a good retention potential.
Yeah. Yeah, I hardly ever do any customization, but yeah, if I do have a longer video, which I typically don't have too long videos, uh, the good thing about the customization is you could put the ad right where you want it. Because sometimes
Hmm.
when YouTube does it, they'll put it like right in the middle of, something that you're talking about. So it's nice to be able to say, no, like, let me get through with this topic, and then I can put an ad right in where it makes sense to put that ad there. So it is cool that they allow that. But yeah, I mean, you definitely have some content creators that push more ads. But this is what I would say to anybody that watches this now or in the future: look at the ads a little bit differently. Like, I know in today's world, like, our attention span is really small and we just want our content right now. But I would just implore you to look at it a little bit differently and just think that every time you see an ad, that's helping that content creator make money. And given that YouTube is free, like, we don't get paid by our subscribers to make these videos, it's like, to me, if I can watch an ad to help someone make money, that doesn't cost me anything. And if I have the time, I typically will let ads play all the way through, unless it's like one of those stupid ads where it's like 8 minutes long.
Man, 8 minutes
You
long. I'm
know,
like,
it's like, yeah, it's a whole video for an ad. If it's something like that, I'm not gonna let that play through. But typically, like the 30-second ads, I just let them play because that's just helping that content creator make money. Like, instead, like I'm not donating money to them. So if I could watch an ad to help them make a few pennies, that's what I do. So I would just tell people, like, don't, I know ads are annoying, but just try to look at it as, if it's a content creator that you like and you support, that's just another way for you to support them. Like, that just helps them make more money. If you let an ad play all the way through, they're going to make a few more pennies off of that than they would have if you would have just skipped it. So, and even if you skip it, I mean, we still get money from it, you know, but it just look at it as like, it's helping us make money. And if we make money off of this stuff, it typically helps us make more content. Like, I don't make enough money to really do enough with it right now, but at some point, like when I'm making a little bit more money, I basically just want to take that money to rent gear and stuff to be able to use just to make more videos. Like, I literally use the YouTube money to invest in stuff for my YouTube channel, which I
yeah.
think is dope. You know, it's like if I can get to a point where I'm like, oh, I can rent, you know, a camera and a lens, you know, every couple of weeks and make a video just for my YouTube money, like that's dope to me. I would definitely do that. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that potential as well. That way, you know, it's kind of like a separate funding account. Like, okay, I could
Right.
just go into here and, oh, this new camera came out. Yeah, we're gonna get that and make a video on it.
Right. And I mean, it in turn, it helps you, right? Because, you know, I mean, like the people that make gear videos, a lot of the gear that they buy comes from videos that they make about gear videos, because those videos do so good, so they make so much money off of it, which helps them keep buying gear to make videos to make money. And it's a perpetual cycle, and it, you know, it works. So yeah, I mean, I've been monetized for I think 2-3 months now. And I mean, yeah, I get it's steady, but I mean, it's little, you know. I mean, it's double digit every month. So I mean, I'm not raking in the dough on monetization or anything of the sort. But I also only do, you know, one video a week, and half my videos don't even be 8 minutes long, so I can't even get the mid roll video ads.
Oh yeah. You might need to load them up. Like, all right, we're gonna have to put a lot of BS at the end of the video to make it
Which,
eight
you know, I
minutes, and
don't
then
I don't like doing that. And honestly, I feel like YouTube is smart enough to be able to figure that out as well. And I feel like that would hurt you. Um Vivi, I 100% agree. Well, Squarespace actually doesn't annoy me as much as what's the education store, or not story block, what's the educational one that where you can watch educational videos that people are pushing, with Skillshare.
uh, is it Skillshare?
Skillshare.
Yeah.
That one annoys me more than anything, because I feel like most people that be pushing this Skillshare, it's like I've never heard them talk about Skillshare ever. And then all of a sudden, they're sponsored by Skillshare. And now all of a sudden, oh man, I just watched the video the other day. Maybe they have been rocking with Skillshare, but they've never talked about it ever. Like, a lot of people that get sponsored by Squarespace was already rocking Squarespace ads like before they got that sponsorship. So I dig that. Like, if you're using a product already or a service already, and they reach out to you and they're like, hey, you know, we want to pay you money to throw our name out there. I use Squarespace for my website. Like, if they ever reached out to me, I would be like, yeah, because there's definitely channels that I watch where maybe there's different levels to the Squarespace money that they pay out, because there's some channels that I watch where it'll just be like, yes, this video is sponsored by Squarespace, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else but then there's other videos
Nothing
where it's
else.
a whole 30-second plug on Squarespace with,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
video and
yeah.
all that stuff. So yeah, I would be the type where it's like, yeah, this video is sponsored by Squarespace, and move on to the next. You know, it doesn't have to be so obtrusive, but I think probably the longer you make that ad in your video, the more money. So people, the dollar. It's just the way that goes.
That's
So
true. So what you think as far as advice you would give to someone doing YouTube?
Don't stay away, turn around, run. Don't even do it,
Do
man.
you
Yeah,
feel
no,
like you're getting the fruits of your labor?
I do. I do, but I mean, man, like I'm basically, man, I think I started it back up sometime in 2020, like early 2020. So I mean, I'm 2 years into coming back into the game. So I mean, it took a while to get to a point where like there was like this consistency.
Yeah.
It also took a while for me to get to a point where I was actually, um I don't want to say excited, but I actually felt like making videos. Like there was a point where it was like I was making videos and I dreaded it. Like I would wake up and be like, "Damn, I got to make a YouTube video today because it's
Oh yeah.
Thursday and I need to get a video out this week." So man, what am I gonna make a video on? I don't even know. And I mean, for me, it was a little tougher because, when it came to portrait stuff, like I wasn't gonna make a video with my clients and,
Yeah.
in LA, I really didn't have a strong network of models to work with. And, my girl, she did stuff for me, but she didn't enjoy doing it. So I can only have her do so much stuff before it just didn't work, especially if I was trying to do something just like really out there and creative. Like it just wasn't her thing. So, sometimes it was tough to be like, well, what video am I gonna make? It's like I don't want to make a
Yeah.
video just for the sake of making a video. Like, what can I put out that's useful? Like how, if a photographer watched this video, what can I make that they're gonna get something out of the video? So it got to a point where sometimes it was a chore because the easiest thing to do would be to do a photo shoot and just do a BTS of the photo shoot. But I didn't have access to just, models to be able to just do that whenever I needed to do it. So it got really, really tough. Um, so then that's when I just got into the mindset of, really trying to think of what video can I do that I feel will be helpful, but at the same time, like I'm gonna enjoy making. And that's what
Okay. So
most of
that's
my
your creative
content,
process.
right? Like that's what most of my videos are. It's like I kind of make videos that it's like I would want to watch. Or if it's a video where it's like, man, I really don't see a lot of videos out about this. I would love to see this. I would do that. Like when I did the 8200 or the 80B2 versus the 8400. I did that
Oh yeah.
video just because I like that kind of stuff. And I was curious. Like I wanted to know, like, how do these two compare? Like I got them. How do they compare? Like I personally wanted to know. So I had a fun time doing that video because I was doing stuff that I was like, man, I'm curious how this is gonna shake out myself. So let's do this and then I can make a video out of it and put it out there. Um so yeah, I mean I think the key is you have to, like Ernesto said, you got to do videos. You got to make videos that you enjoy making. And if you're trying to turn YouTube into a full-time thing, you're gonna have to make some videos that you don't necessarily want to make, but you got to make sure that it's stuff that it's like you don't dread. Like if you hate doing gear stuff,
Yeah.
like it's not gonna be sustainable to keep making gear videos. So you got to find a balance of I'm gonna have to make some videos I don't really like, I don't really care about, but they get hits. So you just gotta find that balance so you don't get to a point where you like F this YouTube thing. Like, cause when you don't get views, that's where if you're not doing it for the right reasons, that's where you're gonna be discouraged like crazy.
Oh
Okay. And
yeah.
then there's gonna be
Yeah.
times you don't get the views. But if it was like, yo, I wanted to make that video anyway, I don't even care, then that
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
discourage
Yeah.
you at all.
That's true. Because I think about like trying to make content that doesn't box you in a sense.
Yep.
Like content where it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get views, but I'm not gonna get subscribers off of this. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, man. It's so easy to get boxed in too. Because anytime you do anything and you get success, what do you want to do? You want to repeat it. Like
Yeah.
that's human nature. Like you do something and it gets, good reception. You like, I want to do that again because I want that reception again. So then you do it again and you get good reception. But then after a while, you start to feel a little empty because you just like, all right, I'm tired of making these videos. Like I'm more than this. Like there is more to talk than this, you know what I'm saying? And so you get tired of making that same stuff. You start feeling empty, and then you start feeling like you're getting pimped out by YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're making videos that you don't really want to make, it's like you getting pimped. They like, no, you gonna keep making these videos because these are the only videos we gonna push. So you either make these videos or you gonna hit the streets. So
Yeah,
yeah, you
I
just don't
see
want
it
to get to that point.
first-handedly. I see it first-handedly, like where some videos you can make and they just they shoot up. And you like,
Right.
dang, I'm getting views. But then also the subs don't really translate all the time either. It's like they get what they want from that video and then off until you make
Right.
another video like
Right.
that.
Yeah, the sub game, man, they ruthless out there, man. It's a hard knock life in this YouTube space, y'all.
I think I've like over time been able to learn how to make content out of like almost anything, you know? Like it's been like I could take a video from 3 years ago and figure out how to make a video about it now.
Yeah, see, but
and
I think where you're at, you're in a fortunate position where I think people just rock with you because it's T mid, which is great. Like
oh
that's
yeah.
exactly what you want out of YouTube. Like you don't want it to be necessarily where people are only watching your videos because it's a good video. Because sometimes you're gonna drop a video that's not great. You want it to be where it's like people are watching your video because they rock with you and they're supporting
Yeah.
you. So even if it's a video that they don't really care about, they watch the video anyway and they support the video anyway because they're supporting you as an artist, as a creator. So that's where I feel like mid is at right now, where it's like he can put out a video of content that's 3 years ago. People still gonna watch that content because they're supporting mid the person, not necessarily mid the creator. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
it's hard to get to that point, but that's where you got to have that variety and you got to have that personality. Like that's what gets you to that point where people are like, I'm going to rock with this man's videos regardless of what they are, even if I don't care about them. There could be
Yeah.
a video. He could be putting out a video that's how to do something where it's like I may not be interested in it because maybe it's a program that I don't use or nothing that I care about. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play that video. I'm gonna let that
You
video play
know,
all the way through.
that make me that's funny because I remember you telling me like, man, you just put out a 30-minute video on a drone flight. And I don't know
Yeah.
how I ended up watching this whole 30-minute
I
video.
watched the whole thing too. Didn't even care about no drone, not even looking to get no drone. And he put that joint out, and I watched that whole 30-minute video. And at the end of it, I'm
I
like, did
did
I
too.
really just sit here and watch this man's drone video for a half hour and I don't even care about this drone?
The drone.
Like, yeah, I did. You know what I'm saying? And that's the person though. Like if that wasn't mid, if that was somebody that I wasn't sub to or that I didn't rock with, like I wouldn't have watched that whole video. But I was gonna play it regardless, and the video, it just was intriguing to me. And then it's like, oh yeah, now I'm curious. Like now I'm like, okay, let's see what it's gonna do. Then when it was like, oh man, it's got to get home. I don't know if it's gonna make it. Then it start
Oh
going in the
yeah,
water.
you
You're
like
like,
this
yo,
about to go
this
down.
is an adventure here. Yeah, like I'm trying to rock with this. What up, Ike?
What's up, Ike?
Yeah, what's popping?
What's going down,
Oh
man?
Yeah. What's cracking?
I saw y'all up here talking. I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this shit. Y'all Debo Moe up in there, bitch.
Yeah. We
just give me some
chatting
knowledge.
it up.
Yeah, they give me knowledge.
No, but what y'all talking about? What's the conversation?
Just
well, the
just
last thing.
YouTube.
Oh, go ahead. Because I think
Nah,
the
go ahead.
last thing was important that like Toglife was just saying, like being able to transition your audience from your content to actually liking you.
Yeah, that's tough. Like I feel like I feel like my views have been like really low, and it's the algorithm. And it's crazy like how many people I've seen people like do videos that got like get crazy views. But
Hmm.
what I realize and what I gotta remember is that most people are just coming and they're going by. Like they're watching your stuff and then they're leaving. And so
Yep.
a lot of people, a lot of videos will get a bunch of views, but then your numbers won't go up. Or you might, like, if you even look at the analytics, it'll be like, 10,000 views, you gain like 4 subscribers off of this video. I'm like, dang, only 4 people
Right.
decided
Yeah.
to subscribe off of this video. Like, I put my heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
So
Facts, man. Big facts.
it's tough, man. It really is tough. And like you guys were saying, like, making like the same type of content. And I always feel like it's a balance between wanting to grow and then also wanting to be you and want to make what content. And both of these, it's hard to get both of these in the same. They both can't live in the same place unless you're just somebody lucky that the content that you make that's true to you also helps you grow. Then you're to the moon. But
Yep.
because I go back and forth with that. I'm like, man, like, what if I like cleaned up my stuff? Then maybe I'd be like more palatable to like advertise and stuff like that. But then it wouldn't be fun for me anymore. And then it's just like,
Yep.
dang, and it's like, it wouldn't be true to me. So it's just like I try to like do a balance of making content that is true to myself and what I want to make, but also whatever I can use to like leverage growth, whether it be gear and reviews and things like that. And so, and then I see like other people do the same thing and go, I'm like, I made that exact same video. How are they getting? I see it all the time. I'm like, yo, I made that video. Like I did the video, the same camera, I put the same lens in my joint, and they went crazy, and my joint just went. And I'm like, I know their video is not better than mine. Like, it's not better than my video. I just like, I did all the things. I put the clickbait in. I did the cuts. I did the music. I did the B-roll. I did everything. Like, why am I not? So, but it is what it is. I'm just like, I'm one of those. Oh well, work harder. That's. I don't complain. I'm just like, all right, well, do better next time. That's just how I look at it.
Yep. It's a mentality to have, man.
What is clickbait?
So here's the thing. I think clickbait gets misconstrued because there is such thing as real clickbait, which like that bait and switch thing where they try to get you to click, like basically a title or like a introduction that makes you feel one way. It kind of baits you into clicking the video, whether it be like a thumbnail, with curvaceous model or something like that, or whatever that's going to bait you into clicking. And then when you click it and then the video is not what it appeared to be. Now, I consider myself to be the clickbait king, but well, actually I'm not the clickbait. Tony, they did clickbait king. But the thing is that like my stuff actually be what it is.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes I will, like, if it's a weak video, I'll put like a crazy thumbnail just to draw people to click. But most of the time I try to be consistent. I just try to pick the best thumbnail that's gonna get you to click it because I want you to watch the video. Hold up, wife's calling.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that definitely. I think more like where Ike and Mid will be is, like if Mid drop a video, and this is what we tell some other people that we talk to. It's like if you doing a video and you got a baddie in the video, put the baddie in your thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? And it's like some people look at that as clickbait. To me, that's not clickbait. That's just, you putting the best asset forward. Like if you got a baddie in your video, you want to put that. Like don't put a thumbnail that's a picture of you or BTS of you shooting. Like, no, put a picture of the baddie on your thumbnail so when people click it, but when they click your video, that baddie's in the video. You know what I'm saying? So it's not clickbait, but you putting the best thing out there for people to see. So you want them to click, and then once they click, you back it up with that content. So
clickbait actually like a thumbnail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got you.
Which I mean, some of us do naturally.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do the, you put a thumbnail out there and it's a female, and then you go to the video and she's nowhere in the video. Like you do that. That's like the true clickbait right there, because it's like, oh, I clicked that because I wanted to see her, and then I get to the video and it's just Keyz talking. It's a talking head of Keyz, and like I don't see this chick anywhere in the video. you're not gonna get subs off of that. You'll get your clicks, you'll get your views, but you don't get subs off of it. You know, it's balance.
Okay, I
Man,
got
I'm
that.
telling you, man, it's all
It's all about work.
You could go crazy trying to figure all this out, man, and start analyzing stuff and thinking like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. Like, I'm telling you, man, it'll drive you crazy, man.
I know some days it be driving me crazy. Like I don't know what to do or how I want to do it and stuff, but I just be putting it out there. So
Well, and to put in perspective, like Ike, man, I don't know how many I got, however many subs he got. He in 6-figure subs, and he's still thinking about this stuff. So Keyz, when you like, man, I just want to get my 1,000 subs, it don't stop, bro. Like this is never ending, man.
Let me tell you something.
Right? That's what the mark I'm trying to reach. So
I'm, again, there's a competitive nature to me. Whatnot. I'm just gonna say, like, oh, dude makes it. Nah, I'm trying to win. So, like, I'm looking at my channel, and I'm always comparing myself to whoever is above me, and whoever might be below me, and like what they're doing, how they're going, because I'm trying to stay. I'm not the just put it out to it. No, there's a purpose to everything, right? But again, being true to me. So I'm looking at like people's channels. I'm looking at their subs and the ratio to the views that they're getting versus like this, and I'm just like, okay, like I got 156,000 subs. I just put out a video, and it's been out a week, and it barely cracked 5,000 views. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like, what's going on here, right? And then I'm looking at other people, so and I don't. This is Toglife, so I don't want to put no names out there, I get salacious on my. Y'all know me. I go ahead. Keep it cool. But I've seen other channels with twice the views than mine, twice the subs, and they'll put out a video like, and they might have like 600,000 subscribers or like 300,000, right? 3 times as many, 4 times as many as I got. And I'm seeing there, and I'm like, damn, he got or she got 600,000 subs, and this video only did like 20,000 in a week, 30,000 a week. And when I compare it to like Matt, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm in line, but still, I'm like, if they got 600,000 and their video they did 30, mathematically speaking, if you multiply my subscribers by, then that's about the range I'm in. It's still, but I'm just like, dang, they got that many subs and they only did 30, and I only did 5, and that 5,000 looks small. But that's still a lot of views. Like 5,000 people,
man,
looking at you is a lot.
That's some
and
views.
I think, so we take a lot of that for granted. Because like when my Instagram reels get 10,000, I'll be celebrating. I'm like, oh, it's not 10,000, but like 10,000 on YouTube, I'm like, I need more. But I got 20 something, followers on Instagram, but I got 150. Now I understand that my 156 is inflated because I had a video go viral on some playlists. So I know that's not real. But when I looked at my numbers like a year ago, my numbers were like on the trend of like 20,000, 30,000, 15, 20. Then all of a sudden it just like went down. I was like, man, like it just sucks.
So you back to figuring out, so it's interesting to see what people are accepting in terms of views. You know what I mean? Like,
it's always changing, because I mean, YouTube is, they're always changing things up. And so it's always, you playing catch up. Like you try to stay in front of, when you see a trend or you see kind of something the way that YouTube is going, like what videos are they pushing? Which videos are getting views? And you're like, oh, so now they starting to go this way. And that's like, where Ike is saying it's balance, because you can fall into the trap of like every time you see something trending to the left, you want to go that way because you're like, oh, this is where the new hot thing is. So let me start doing this stuff. And it's just like, that might get you some views and that might get you somewhere. But then it's just like, is that you? You know what I'm saying? Are you enjoying making those videos? So it's like, man, you can't always go left. Like sometimes you gotta be like, all right, I see where it's going, but I could take 215 and get there as well. So I'm gonna go this way and I'm gonna catch him on the back end of it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. So what about content kind of blocking you? So Ike, you talked about cleaning up cleaning up your stuff. So do you feel like that kind of hinders the creator if you got like a certain type of look?
Yeah, and that's me too. Like I'm all over the place as a person, as a creative. Even on Instagram, y'all ever seen people who like Instagram feed got to be a certain way? Like their feed is a certain color, they have a certain
Oh yeah,
theme,
yeah.
they shoot like a certain like. All right, if it's not a black and white photo, it can't go on my feed. It could be the best picture ever taken, but if it's not, my feed is black. Like I'm like, it could be a black and white picture today. It could be a color picture tomorrow. It could be a film picture today. It could be an off-camera flash digital tomorrow. Like I'm all like, you've seen like my style. I just appreciate a different forms of creativity, and I like to explore those. And so my YouTube and my Instagram is a way for me to explore that. If you look at my professional Instagram, it's consistent up and down. But my personal one is like, I might want to try to see what like a Polaroid picture look like and post it, and just be free to post and put it out there to the world. And so I feel like being like narrowed down into a certain thing, people know what to expect. So you might be able to, I guess, draw more people or a much more loyal fan base to like that look, that people are like attracted to that look or that style. But
Yeah.
that would hinder me because I might want to try something different, and me trying something different will break the mold. Or people don't like changes, so people feel like, oh, this is different. What am I looking at? Like, get this away from me, type of thing. So yeah, I think it's tough, and that's why you kind of gotta know and be aware that like, look, you trying something off the wall, it may not get no views, and you gotta be okay with that. You can't sit there and be like, why aren't people appreciating my, eclectic vision? Like, no.
Yeah. Right.
You can't, like somebody who likes off-camera flash and only off-camera flash, if they come and see you with a reflector and natural light in the Shh, what you need?
She whispered.
Okay.
That's cute.
Okay, I'm gonna charge it up for you, okay? Okay, we're gonna
Yeah,
wait
they
a little
got
later, okay? Sorry, guys. But you get what I'm saying. Like, if you like off-camera flash and you come to me and you see natural light, you can be like, what is this? And I like natural light, but I like off-camera flash too. So it's like, you're going to get both of them with me. I shoot weddings. If you don't care about weddings, you're going to get a wedding from me. And so there are people like, man, I wish you would do more weddings. I'm like, yeah, I get that. I'm working on it. But then I'm like, but this baddie want to go out and do some stuff in the studio, and you might get that too. So it's like, I'm all over the place. Where's the charger at? Sorry.
I'm just remembering I can click some of these things and put them on the screen. Y'all know I don't be on here like that.
I could have told you that, but I was gonna let you figure that out.
Yeah. It's too much going. Like I be talking and then just be listening. I can't be focused on all this different stuff.
Yeah. That's one thing, man. The baddies is a whole situation right there. It's like they can be a gift and a curse.
How so?
Because I'm wondering if like YouTube sees the baddies, at a certain point where like you can get your clicks and subs, but will it only draw a certain crowd?
It will, but I don't know if you guys know who Peter Coulson is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's dope. Australian photographer.
Okay, so y'all seen his videos, right?
Yep.
Y'all seen the views he gets. So I don't want to hear nothing about nothing.
Yep.
Okay. Like that argument is like dead because of what he's been able to do and his growth in that short amount of time. So
Yep. Yeah. Amid Keyz, you guys know who Peter Coulson is? You guys follow him at all?
Yeah.
I follow.
Yeah. I found this channel, man, like 2-3 years ago, and it just, I don't know. I just I rock with him.
And he does, don't get me wrong, he does great work. Like he's awesome. Like he's a banging studio. I was like, damn, look at this studio with this light gear. I'm like, that's cool to see somebody like doing behind the scenes. And he do real behind the scenes. It ain't that play. Like he be having a gimbal. He be showing you how it's breaking down. He uses medium format, so it's not like a mirrorless. Like he really be giving you the game. Like I have a position the light here, So I'm like, yo, this guy's really giving the sauce. And he don't be like, I'm doing the lens review in like 45. Like this. I don't know how many megapixels his camera is. Like I have no idea I don't even know what kind of camera you're shooting with. I just know it's a medium format.
Man, yeah, it's phase. I think he uses a phase 1, but he's been shooting with that Sony A1 a lot here lately, though.
Okay, yeah. But my point is that like when you come to his channel, you're not even really thinking about the gear or whatever he uses today. Like my channel, like, yo, what? Yeah, no, exactly that. And like I'm like, his thumbnails be clickbait, but it be the actual picture he took. Because you be baiting the clean. Oh snap! What kind of shirt is that? And you click, and then you're like, oh, this is how he made the image. And so he really creates these images, and is but has the baddies or whatever, and like his content be it's not low key safe for work or whatever, but you get what I mean. It's borderline, like all of ours is. So I'm like, there's no way you can tell me that like and then I'm on YouTube and I'm seeing like swimsuit run ratios get 50 million views. I'm just like, nah, it ain't me. It ain't me. It's just
yeah, that's a tough it's a tough game to be in, because I feel like it's a thin line between tasteful and artistic, and then sleazy and trashy. So it's trying to find that balance of showing enough and doing enough, but still be artistic enough to where people can appreciate the work that you're doing versus just looking at it and being like, what the hell is this?
Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line?
Where would y'all draw the line? Because I don't really shoot that kind of content. So I mean, where's the line for y'all? Like when it comes to if you're doing shoot baddie and as you're doing a YouTube video off of it, like how far are you taking what you're putting in that YouTube video?
Whatever won't get me demonetized, put it that way. I won't get demonetized. But again, also like as I create work, like I also want to create work that can be right on the edge, like you said, like tasteful and classy, and also trashy. Like I try to maybe tiptoe that line, but err on the side of artistic, because I want my stuff to be lit well. I just don't want to be like, oh, just anybody with a baddie. Like she in the background, singing in the background. Lord, y'all, this is real life.
Yeah, right.
Can you,
Ike, when you and Mid too. So when you guys make these YouTube videos with the baddies in there, do you guys do other shooting outside of what we see in the video? So like you make your video safe content, but then do you do other content that's just more of like whatever vision you have for the shoot, and then you're not worrying about the YouTube aspect of it?
I'm trying to get the baddest like them, but shoot, it's hard. Dog, it's hard trying to get the baddest like them, boy.
I would say most of what you see for me is what I've done. Like I don't do anything like for everything is for content to me, for content, some kind of content. So if it's too crazy, then it gets put on Patreon. Or if this is going to be one of those shoots, I'm like, all right, this is going to be a Patreon shoot. But everything gets recorded, because I'm just like, if I'm not making some kind of, because most of the stuff I do is for free. Like if I'm doing stuff, it's for free, but it's collaboration. So I got to get some kind of kickback. So my kickback is either I make content for Patreon, where it won't be able to go on YouTube, because the intention is always YouTube, and or I make it something that I can make for YouTube. So there's nothing that I've done that like, oh, I didn't, unless I just it was a sneaky link shoot,
Yeah. All right, make sure she don't fall now.
But that gets recorded too, and I figure I had to get that on Patreon too. So
yeah.
No, I think I'm kind of the same way. Like sometimes the shoots might go crazy, but I feel like it's not appropriate for YouTube. So I kind of like keep that in mind, where I'm like, nah. And I'm always going back, like, all right, well, how does this look in the eye? Does this look safe right here? Does like, is this still value gained from this photo shoot if I post it? And that's kind of where I put my mindset. Like if it's still artistic to me, then I'm like, okay, I'm cool with posting this, because yeah, she bad, all of this, but at the end of the day, this image is a nice image, and technically speaking, it's something that's gained and you can get some value from it. Now, if it's just like,
Mhm.
oh, it's a baddie and she just nude and it's just on, a regular type shoot, then I'm like, all right, is this enough to solidify the video?
Yeah. Now, do you feel like, and we don't have to necessarily go into too deep and turn it into too big of a racial thing, but do you think that there's some racial disparity between, young black creators and, somebody like, Peter Colson, older white guy? Do you think that people look at that content different, and if it's a young black creator, it's more sleazy, even if it's on par with the artisticness of Peter Colson? Do you think people are looking at it like, oh, it's a young black dude, like this is just some raunchy sleazy stuff, versus, oh yeah,
Yep.
that's clean, that's artistic?
100%. 100%. Now, I don't think that everybody does that, but I do believe, and I want to answer Charles Davis's question too. This question that you got up here, but I do believe that there is some. You got to remember, we in America, right? And not only in America, but the world essentially looks at black people like the media, especially American media, and just media in general, has like made black people get a certain stigma and look a certain way. And you can try to fight that all you want, but like in general, like Asians look at us a certain way, Russians look at us a certain way. You everywhere you like, black people are looked at as second class citizens. So anytime we do something just like they do, it's gonna get looked at with a side eye. And even with black women being built how they're built, like you have a black woman in bikini and it's like, oh, what are they doing? But if it's a white girl in bikini, it's like, oh, look how cute it is, or whatever the case may be. It's just like it's anything that black, when it comes to like that kind of content with black people, it just goes up a notch. Just like, oh, wait, you're going too far. And so
Right.
I do believe that to be the case. Now,
Like, yeah, she too thick.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I seen this thing about this I think this volleyball player. It came up, she was super thick, but she was like mixed, like black, and she was tall. And like she stood out because most of the female volleyball players are white and they're slender, but she was built like this, and natural too. And they were like, "Yo, look at her. She's she should cover up, blah blah blah." And they're like, "Yo, she's wearing the same thing everybody else wears, but because she got all of this, it draws more attention to it. So now it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is too much." And so
Yeah.
it's just how it is. I mean,
Yep.
I don't want to say it holds us back or whatever, because like I also feel like it's enough black people in this world to support each other to where we shouldn't have to worry about that. We just got to get the
Man,
support.
that's a whole man.
And so like,
That's support
Yeah.
right there, bro.
and so going back to Peter Colson, right? I looked at his content. I'm like, damn, this guy's content not so much different than the kind of content I make. And I'm looking at his comments, and the same people in his comments look like Peter Colson, right? They probably got his accent. They probably live in other countries or whatever, in Europe or whatever, but they see his thumbnails and they see him and they're comfortable there. Whereas they might see my content and they might hit subscribe for him, but they might just like, hit like and save it to a playlist for me. That's the difference. Like, I'm like, oh, I kind of like that video too, but I'm not gonna subscribe. So I'm gonna watch it. But Peter
Yeah.
Colson, I'm gonna subscribe
Yeah.
because So that if that makes sense.
Yep.
If anybody else want to chime in on that.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the nose, and I think having that bird's eye view of other people looking in on us always kind of makes me want to make sure I'm like on kind of like that line of like artistic, but still not super raunchy, and still kind of looked at in a nice viewpoint from everybody else that's gonna look at it on YouTube, which is hard.
Anita Sadowska, which is the homie, my friend, so I'm not picking on anybody. She makes the same content. Her models have on the same thing that our models have on, and she's out there with it. She be having models with swimwear. out in, at the beach and stuff like that, or in the studio, or they'll, be having like even Irene, she shot a model where she had like the girl covered up with that's their vibe, that's their vision, right? So it seems artistic, or oh, it's cool when they do it, but it's the exact same thing. Now their moms might not be twerking, but that's our native. That's our native dance. Okay.
right. Yeah.
Maybe that's the line we're going.
Big facts, man. I definitely do think people look at it different. I think as Black folks, I mean, we have to just understand that. And it's like, I think I do. Sometimes it makes me feel some kind of way when people will be like, Black people don't have it any harder than anybody else. Look at all the successful Black people. And it's like, well, as a Black man, like I've been successful, but that doesn't mean that my journey was a lot harder than an equivalent of a different race. Like I had to work harder. I had to do more. I had to prove myself more. So it's like, just because I have success doesn't mean that there's not disparity there. It's like there is. People do look at it different, like that Anita, for example. She could be out doing that photo shoot and nobody's looking at her crazy. People are just like, oh, it's a photographer. She's, oh, look at that bikini, so cute. Oh, she's probably getting some amazing photos. Ike go to that same spot, that same location with a model with the same thing on. People gonna be looking at him different than they're looking at her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we can't ignore that, and we just have to understand that and just say, okay, we can still win, but we got to understand it's gonna be harder for us.
Exactly. And going back to your point, Black people not only have to like work harder for white people, but we also have to work harder for each other. Because the same way white people look at us, there are some Black people that look at like, oh, what you doing? Oh, I see you out here trying to be, that whole like, oh, so you trying to be uppity now, like that.
Right.
So they see you out here like, oh, I see. So they're making a little loot. So like, not only do we have to climb that hill against them, even with our own people, it's a climb, which is crazy. But I feel
like it's probably even harder with our own people, because just like, man, we have, like the envy is crazy. Like we could have like a Black photographers group, right? And nobody could be in there, with a YouTube. You put your stuff out there, man. It could be that simple. Like, you got this X amount of people in this group, but just because you're trying to put your YouTube out there showing what you're doing, nobody want to support it, where it don't cost you anything, and it's like 10 times harder because everybody is like crab in the barrel, like, oh no, I'm not supporting that YouTube.
I'm with you. I'm the same way. And sometimes I be supporting people. I don't even like care for the content. I'm like, I'm just support because we all we got. Just hit the play button. I don't even like the content. I don't care for this.
Thank you for that.
Definitely, man. Gotta support.
Like again, and I'm gonna get to you thing, Charles. Somebody made a thing, right? And not to get all like political and like all that stuff, but like going back to just like reaching out to support, especially when you're in the field and you know what that means, it helps. It was like, when you looked at like the civil rights movement back in the day and what they had to go through. Like, I remember my wife, we did a civil rights show, and we just looked at the history. And when you actually really look at like what Black people had to do, like drive like from Memphis to Alabama to Georgia to wherever, all of these states, Arkansas, I'm like, dang, they literally had to get in the car. There was no text messages. There was no, there wasn't like a website you can go to see. They had to really get up and get out the house and mobilize. And the fact that all those people mobilized and did all that is crazy. Because I'm like, man, would I be willing to do that today? And I'm like, man, like they had to get up and actually move and put their body effort. All we got to do is click a button. And it's crazy. I'm like, dang, like imagine if we would have to do that kind of stuff to fight for, our rights or whatever, or be treated fairly in today's world with how people can't hit a button or can't hit share or can't hit like or can't leave a comment or whatever. It's crazy how like but y'all would have did what back then? Like if that was me, I would have. No, you wouldn't.
Right. Right. Big
You
facts.
can't even leave a comment. You weren't about to do nothing right there. You just go sit in the house
Oh, so true, man.
and look out the window and be like, I don't know why they fighting that man.
Yeah,
No, but it
yeah,
really
and
was.
then
It was.
the key one is like they support you once it's popular to support you. You know, like after you done already did the mud and groundwork to get your name to where it's at. So now it's like, oh yeah, man, Ike my man, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, I will give people like sometimes people you gotta teach people how to treat you. You know, you gotta let them know. And if it feels crazy to be like, oh, make sure you hit the like, and like, damn, why I gotta keep saying this? But you gotta teach people because they
Yep.
just are gonna do what they're gonna do, and they're not gonna pay attention. They're like, everybody's out for self, right? So if I'm out for myself, the best thing for me is to watch a video while I'm doing something else, listen in the background, and then cut it off and go to the next. If I actually have to stop what I'm doing to leave a comment or think something to say, it's taken out of my time, and I'm thinking about myself. So you got to think about a lot of people are looking out for themselves and what's in their interest. And so if this content is in my interest, I'm going to engage with it. If it's not, next, and it is what it is. So I just,
Yeah.
That's a good comment for the chat. What makes you all subscribe?
well, let me answer this question first before
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It says,
Answer the
I
question.
mentioned, Lloyd, is there a large crossover percentage?
They've been there for a while.
Yeah, I think that like my Instagram has grown immensely because of my YouTube. My Instagram, I like when I started YouTube, I had like 3, 4, maybe 5,000, and then once I got on YouTube, my Instagram grew a lot because a lot of people from YouTube started following me on Instagram. But then I also get a lot of people who kind of I guess found me on Instagram and also like so there's a lot of people on Instagram who don't come to my YouTube because I follow a lot of models follow me. So there's a lot of like people who are the same, but then there's a lot of people who are different because I feel like even in those, let's say like out of my 24,000 Instagram followers, 10 of them came from YouTube. That means I should at least have 10,000 views every time I drop a video within a week, and that doesn't happen.
Facts.
So, and then I get people asking me questions about videos that I did. I'm like, oh, I made a YouTube video on that. You don't watch my YouTube? Like, oh, what do you think? Somebody asked me about the Village Trucks. I'm like, yeah, I made a video on that. And they're like, they still ask me. I'm like, yo, here's the video right here. Oh, I saw the video. Well, then what you asking me? Like, I just
Yeah, what is
made a video for this, for to answer the question.
Yeah.
Like, yo, bro. Or you should do this. I'm like, oh, how do you get the mouse? Bro, it's a video for that. Here's a video. So, yeah. And some people are lazy. Like you might
The DMs and the comments.
you might put like let's say for my Instagram, I try to get people to come to YouTube. Here, click the video, and like people still won't click it. They won't they'll just stay on Instagram because that's their platform. So you might be like full video on YouTube, and they just be like, how'd you do that? And like just click the link, bro. Watch the video, please. So there is some crossover, but it's not a lot. It's kind of in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I could definitely see where
recently
that would
I've
be.
seen mine's. Recently I've seen mine's grow because of my YouTube.
Yeah.
Your
Because I
Instagram?
think I was at my Instagram, like I was at like 1,000 followers for the longest, and then when my YouTube started picking up, then my followers start coming from there, and so that's where I gained like the most growth. Probably like the last year, yeah, I got like 4,000 followers just from people coming from YouTube to my Instagram.
Somebody said, what makes you subscribe? What makes me subscribe? It depends on what you're talking about. Like if we're just talking about in terms of just the photography aspect, YouTube is like TV for me. And back in the day, I used to be looking for tips and tricks and try to learn things, but now I more so just want to be entertained. So if people are making,
You want to be entertained by that tablet.
Yeah.
You want to be entertained? You better charge that tablet up.
Yeah, she like,
He
hey,
ain't
now,
charge-
you said later. It's later now. I ain't playing with you.
Yeah.
He ain't give her a full charge.
Yeah. Like,
What was I
don't
saying?
play with me, pops.
no, Now I'm just looking to be entertained and just seeing what other people are doing. And I also like I'll still watch like, you know, how to shoot if it's just a fun video. And what'll make me subscribe is like if one, now I'm just starting to subscribe to people because they're black, and if it's in my field. Like there are a lot of creators who even black creators who I think are cool, but they don't make the content that I'm into. So like mainly video. So there are like a few video creators who I'm just not subscribed to because I'm like, oh, they're video people, and I don't do video. I'm a photographer. But if there's somebody who's a photographer who's making photography videos, and they're good videos, meaning like they, you know, are, you know, talking in front of the camera, showing behind the scenes, creating good images, I'll subscribe. That's easy. Like because I like watching that stuff for fun. It's entertaining for me.
So how important is engagement in this day and age?
You know, it depends on who you are. If you are a viewer, the engagement, it doesn't matter because it's there. If you're a content creator, it's super important because these things are run by algorithms now, and that's really the problem. The algorithms is telling people what to do and what to think, and so
Sadly.
and so like if the algorithm says you're not getting the engagement, no matter how much people might like it, no matter how good it is, if the algorithm doesn't see the engagement, the algorithm's like, oh, next, let me bury you. Oh, this must not be good. Let me just sweep this under the rug. It's crazy.
Now, seeing that we all content creators, and I think Midge, you've had this in a video or two, so this isn't a shot at you, but I'm just curious as to what y'all think as content creators. You know, when you watch a video and buys, you know, comment your favorite whatever in the comments. Do you like when I hear that, because I'm a content creator, and maybe I shouldn't think like this, but I'm just being honest. Like when I hear that, I'm just kind of like, man, you're just trying to get engagement in your comments. You know what I'm saying? It's like don't act like you really care about, you know, what camera I'm using or this, that, and the other. It's like, no, like you just want that comment engagement, which is, I get it as a content creator, but also it just feels sweet to me. I'm just like, you know, I want the engagement, but I want it to be a little bit more authentic, you know. But at the same time, it's like engagement is engagement, right? Like comments are comments. So
wait, it's not one exclamation mark. So delete
Sorry,
that. Out.
Yeah. No, I definitely sometimes it is for just pure engagement, but sometimes it is intriguing for me to know. So I might put it there specifically because of whatever this shoot may be, you know. And honestly, like I've been doing that like on my community tab as well. And you know, it's been nice because it offers me another way to interact with my community, because you know, on YouTube I can't interact with people like I do on Instagram, because I go live on Instagram, but then a lot of people don't like going live because they're not comfortable. So you will be amazed at, like, because even I was, you know, people would be excited to even talk to you. You know what I mean? Like Ike, matter of fact, one time, me and Ike was on Instagram, and the dude came into the chat and he was like, T-Med, you're my biggest inspiration. Like I love you, like you're my favorite photographer. And Ike was like, yeah, like how do that make you feel? You know what I mean? So you never know who you're really touching when you speak back to them. You know what I mean? So that comment, like you never know how people view you. And so like that may have been like one of the first times where I've seen somebody view me in that light. You know what I mean? And then through Instagram, when I started going live more, I got to interact with more people from YouTube. And then I started to see like, yo, like it's a lot of people that rock with me like that.
Yeah. And
so yeah, that's how I use that engagement. Yeah.
And going back to your point, I agree. Like I sometimes do that because I want engagement, and sometimes I want to know, but I be trying to go back and forth with y'all. Like I be in the comments with you, and so even if you just trying to use it as a way to like slick get engagement, to me, I'm like, if you in the comments, like if you're like, hey, so what's your fate? Like, all right, I did a lens with the 35 versus 50. Let me know in the comments what do you prefer. Are you a 50 person or are you a 35 person? Let me know which one and why. And then, you know, because this is for engagement. I don't really care, but because it's gonna change my opinion.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a way to gain engagement. But then if you say I'm a 35 because, all right, cool, I say you feel that way. I like, and let's go back and forth and let's talk, because if I'm trying to get you to talk to me, then the least I can do is talk back to you. Like, I feel like as a person, like, yo, hey, I spent the time to leave a comment. The least you can do is say something. If you get 1,000, you ain't gotta say something to everybody, but like at least 100 people, the first 100 people can get a look or something. But like, what kind of gets me is when people like, you know, comment here below, and then everybody comment, and then like it'd be 3 replies from the creator, and then the rest is just like everybody going back and forth with each other. I'm like, man, like, you're not even engaging with the people. You just, hey, like, I want to know. I'm like, do you really want to know? Because how we know if you how we know you just ain't say that and just went on about your business and then respond to nobody comments. And so to me, I look at it as, if you engage back with the comments, then I'm like, okay, whether you care or not, at least you are actually genuinely care about the interaction.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Then the purpose of interaction.
I dig that. Yep. I dig that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's important too. Like, if people know that you will respond back, I feel like they hold that at a higher, regard. Like, oh man, this person, I watch their stuff and they actually respond to me.
Yeah.
Because
I'll be like that on Instagram. I'll be like, oh snap, I got a response. That's dope. Like, or I'll watch other big creators make videos, and I'd be looking to see who they responded, because I'd be like, I wonder if they're gonna respond to anybody. I'm like, oh, they responded here, what they say, and I'm like trying to get what they think, because then the video is only one form of communication, but the comment is another form of communication, like a deeper level of, okay, well, here's context of what I said about this and that, and let me explain myself. Or why do you think that? Oh, I did this because. And so I'd be looking for their comments. And a lot of the big ones, it'd be hard to find.
Yep. I get it. I'm sure they got a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, I feel like, if you asking for my opinion on something, then I give it to you and I don't get any acknowledgement at all, then it's like, that's clear to me, like, you didn't care about my opinion, so it's like, even if you just comment because it's part of the game and you like, I gotta show that I'm engaging, I at least appreciate that you took the time and effort to do that, versus you say that the video ends, all these people comment, and you on to the next one and you never acknowledge anything. It's like, okay, well, you won't get me on the next video. I'm not engaging anymore.
Yeah, you done. What's that?
Shit, people on YouTube know that you don't care what camera lens you're using, because you only ask to generate traffic. Again, being authentic is key. And I think, like I said, like, if I add something in my video, I do genuinely care, and I respond to every comment. Now, granted, I'm smaller, right? So if I get 20, 30 comments, it's not hard to respond to 20 or 30 comments. Whereas these bigger channels, you go to them and it's like they got 500, 600, 700 comments. You're not realistically going to be able to respond to all of those. But it's like, if I ask for something in my video, it's like I'm asking because I'm curious. Like, I definitely want to know, and I do respond to that. But yeah, a lot of YouTubers, they play the game, and I look at it as like, I can't be mad about people playing the game. Like, even if it's not what I would do, it's like some people's goal in this YouTube space is to make as much money as they can. Like, that's their motive. That's what they're in this for. And so they do everything they have to do to make as much money as they can. And I can't knock that hustle. Like, it's not what I do, but I can't look at that and be like, they're XYZ, because that's their game. Like, that's cool. Like, do that game and play it well. Like, if you're doing that and you're making money, then that's cool. I might not support you. I might not watch your stuff, but hey, if this is what you're doing, then that's what's up. I support that.
Yeah, I did tag you in that Vitrol lens thing, but you ain't say nothing back.
Hey,
you ain't say nothing back, but it's all right.
He put him on the spot. He put him on the spot.
You ain't say nothing back.
Authenticity is key.
when it come to Instagram, I got to get a lot better. I'm gonna be honest. Like, my Instagram game is almost non-existent. So I do got to get better in that. So
I tag you in that. You ain't. I tag you.
I saw it though. And I was like, that's what's up. I just
didn't they responded back, because I got the.
But I'm not a rapper.
They did respond back to the comments, and I said I got the Ninja 200.
Okay,
so they did
Tay.
respond back.
So Tay, here's a question for you then, because a lot of people do this. What would be your purpose of tagging like me or a Toglife, whatever, in your post or whatever? Like, what's your reason? Like, what's your thought process behind like, oh, let me tag these people so they can see it? Besides, so they can see it. Is there anything beyond that, or it's just, oh, I want them to see it, so I'm tagging them?
Just want them to see it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like the Viltron. I know me and you got the Viltron lens, so that's why I tag because I want to win, and I want like
yeah.
I want to win that content, so that's why I be tagging. and Todd be in Viltron. Like he be on their profile 24/7. I know that. So when I saw that contest, like Viltrox, I know me and you got this lens too, Ike. So that's why I'm trying to win. So I just be like tagging, trying to win stuff like. I got 85 and 33. So
here's my struggle with Instagram, and I've been trying to do better, but like I've always been the type where. If follow someone on Instagram, they post stuff. I never liked everything because I always felt like that would water down the like. If every single time somebody posts something, if I'm just double tapping, then it's just like, well, how do you know if I really like it versus you put it out there and I'm just liking it to like it. But then
that's me.
Like once I met up with you, I talked. And I started following her, and she was just like talking about how for like her brand content, how even just liking a post helps. That changed my whole mindset on it, what I'm saying, because I was just like, well, I look at something and it's not that it's bad, but I try to reserve like my likes for something that I'm just like, yo, like that's above and beyond what you normally do. Like I just want you to know that like you really knocked it out the park with this one versus getting a single base hit. But then I'm just like, well, but I could just like it and just give people that support as well. So I'm always conflicted because like I don't like just liking everything, but then I don't want to feel like I'm just like not supporting people and I could do it in a millisecond by just double tapping it.
I that is me. I am the watered down. Like honestly, if I like it, don't take it too. Don't take it to mean a whole lot because I'm just my likes be for the streets. Okay, but. I won't ever like something I don't like. If I don't like it, I'm not gonna like it. But like you said, Anthony, some things are like here. It's like I guess, and then some things are like oh snap, and you'll get a double tap if it's right here, and you'll get a double tap. So there's really no way to gauge how much I liked it. You just know that I liked it, and the reason I'm like that Toglife is because I want the same. Like whether you really like it or you just said it's cool. Please hit the thumbs up because I want the same thing. And so to me, it's more of a reciprocity of like I'm putting out energy that I want to receive as opposed to, but I also stand the mindset of I want to be authentic of the person that, if you see me come across your page and you see me like your stuff, if you see me give you that nod, it's legit. Like I understand that completely. I'm just, and you come from more of a pure artist standpoint. I'm just more of a, I'm just trying to hustle this karma.
Yeah.
And so people be like, hey, I've had people like ask me, hey, bro, can I get a follow? All right, fine. You ask, I'll give you the follow. Now, I might unfollow you in a year or two. I'm like, who's this? Why am I following this person? I might unfollow, but if you ask me, nice, fine. You ask here's a follow. Because you asked for it. So that's just me. That's who I am. Yeah. But other people are like, whoa, it depends. Let me look at your profile. Let me look at your, I can't get you to follow. I'm like, dang, bro. So I get both sides. I can't really judge too much, because I get both.
Right. If I tag y'all on something, I want to reply.
Yeah, I got you on the next. I want to reply after this live. I'm gonna go back and reply to that one just so I can be like, I replied. I was just a little late.
Hey, they did respond. Like I said, they did comment back. and I said I got the Ninja 200. Like I said, they did comment back, so I don't trying to win that. So that on time I tag something like that, like
I don't
companies that
know
we
if you
follow.
want to tag I don't know if you want to tag Toglife on that. He got a rocky relationship with We Like right now, man.
Yeah.
I think I go to
a
the
little bit at the moment.
You might want to take that back. Say, no, I'm just joking.
That's the only time I tag like stuff that the companies that we got. Knowns and stuff. That's the only time, or they're trying to like win a contest or something. So I'm just trying to. That's my thing is trying to get out there. So
yeah.
But I know I
want some free stuff.
I know I and T May always say just keep on pushing. So that's why I be doing, just keep on pushing.
What you mean keep as far as what?
Like my contents and stuff. Like videos and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, again, of course, like how we approach things, our entire upbringing, like our life goes into like how we approach the content, how we react to how the content gets received and things like that. And like, I tend to be a little bit more hard edged and like really like, nobody cares. Suck it up and try harder next time. That's just how I am. So I'm just like, oh well, like toughen up. Like, oh well, try harder next time. That's just me. Like like Kim K said, work harder. Like you ain't working hard enough. You're gonna be working your hardest. Yeah. But if it didn't hit, work harder. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Like shut up and go somewhere. Yep. Now you can complain and cry and whine about it, but if you want to play the game, try harder. Figure out something else. Maybe your work is there. Maybe you just don't know the right people. Figure out how to know the right people. Or maybe you posting at the wrong. Like figure out it's either play the game or sit in the corner. That's just how I look at it. Like go sit in the corner and cry in the corner, or figure out what they doing and do what they doing.
Yeah, you put a good point to like how your upbringing is and how you raised, how you approach the content. Because Charles Davis made a statement when Vogue had Manny on the stream the other day, and was talking about how you and I communicate with the models like seamlessly. You know what I mean? And so it kind of goes into like how you raised. Like if you were smooth, growing up, then it kind of helps you when you are doing these meets with these models, because you kind of resort back to some of your old type of ways. You know what I mean?
That plays a role into it's a role into just being able to communicate with people outside, just in general, and like talking.
Exactly.
And like you said, how you rate my hard edge goes into like my growth and growing up. Like not to get all like in a soapbox or whatever, but like I look at myself as a statistic, into where like I was raised by my grandmother. So both my parents been to jail. Like my mom was locked up. She got arrested by the DARE officer. Remember DARE, right? The kid.
Yeah, man. I didn't even know they could actually arrest people. I knew that.
Bruh, I know now. I can tell you how. So I remember, I never forget, I was in 3rd grade. I remember the guy who used to come to my school and do the thing, right? I was with my mom in the trailer park. And if you look on my Instagram, you look at my highlights, you will see the trailer that I used to live in back in the day. So I remember I was chilling with my mom. The police officer came and arrested, and I was like, yo, and I recognized, like, that's the guy. And I was embarrassed. It was like one of the worst moments in my life, because I was like, dang, that's the guy. He's gonna recognize me. I gotta go back to school. He finna tell these people, yo, his mom, like, I don't even know what she got arrested for, right? So that's the thing that happened to me. My father, never in my life. When I went to go visit him, the few times I went to go visit him, the one time he like was had some people over, and they were doing some stuff that wasn't Pepsi, and you caught that Drake line. One of the people was like, "Hey, can you help me?" And they had me hold a dollar bill to help them, facilitate whatever they facilitate. And like, these are moments that I'll never, these are like traumatic events that I've had to like deal with and overcome. And so like being raised with my grandmother, with my parents not necessarily being around my life, being in and out of jail, and then all the other stuff I had to deal with, I get on YouTube and I'm like, what are you crying about? Like, what are you fussing about? Like, okay, so much they didn't do this. Like, work harder or try harder, or yo, speak up. Like, nobody's gonna speak for you. Like, you gotta learn how to speak up. There are plenty of times in my life where I didn't say anything, and like things just went bad. Not super bad, but like I probably could have said something, and it might have been a different outcome. So now I'm looking at things at 39 years old. I just approach things differently. So my age plays a part in like how I look at things and how I approach people or whatever. My life experiences and just, my personality as, who I am as a competitive person, as somebody who likes to joke and have fun. Like, even my jokes come from dealing with what I dealt with. So that's why when I make jokes, I'm like, look, so what? Like, you gonna cry? Oh Lord, these kids.
Yeah, that definitely is how I be with them jokes, man. He be brutal sometimes in them comments. I be feeling bad for some of them models. Like, hey, sorry. What up, Ernesto? Though, what's going on, man? You back in?
Yeah, I've been listening all this time. I've just been driving around, but I just wanted to just jump in really quickly on two things that you guys were talking about earlier. One being tagging folks on, I guess, different social media, and also engagements, right? Talking about people engaging on your video. So I'll just start with the engagement bit. So if I'm a creator, you guys all are creators, right? Posting stuff online. Who did we lose? Oh, Toglife just changed up the view. I was like, did we lose someone? So if you're posting a video, right, you put in all this energy into creating a video and you posted it, whether or not you made a comment in your video about, hey, put a comment down below, let me know what you think, blah, blah, blah. Whether you made that comment in the video or not, if I'm putting a lot of energy into creating a video and I'm posting it publicly, not privately, but publicly, I'm posting that video, I want to know that somebody's actually on the other end of that is, actually find it helpful or found it horrible and wasn't helpful at all. I want them to put some type of comment there so that I can, get some type of feedback. I don't want to feel like I'm talking to a wall, right? So that's really what's important with me when it comes to engagement. I just want someone, whoever's watching the video, just to take the time out just to say, hey, I loved it, I hated it. If I go back into all the comments historically, even I'll say quote unquote the bad ones, it's not really even bad. It was all comments because things of mistakes that I was making in my video. Like, I remember making a video back in the day where the audio was just coming in on one ear and not the other. Like, it was just coming in on the left channel or right channel or something like that. I didn't know that, right? Because I wasn't listening to the video on mobile. I was just watching it on my laptop or whatever. And somebody put a comment on there saying, hey, dude, man, I couldn't even watch this entire video because it's all coming in on one channel. For a minute, I thought my headphone was broken or something, And I'm like, well, thank you. I didn't know that. That was really good to know. So I think, as creators, posting videos publicly is great to get that feedback from, your viewers. You want them to put something there for you as a creator. Now, obviously, that helps from a YouTube perspective, because when you put your comment there, YouTube could actually use that now to say, okay, someone is actually interested in your video, and they'll try to push it up in the algorithm. So that's from an engagement perspective, right? And then from the tagging, if the goal is basically if you're tagging someone in your post, like for me personally, I took off that feature where when someone tags you in a post, it shows up in, like, I don't know if you go on your profile, on your Instagram profile, and you're looking at someone's profile, there's a section there for tags. And if you click on that section, you could see all the various tags that people tagging you in. I hated that feature. I turned that off. There was an option where you could just turn that off, because I just want my feed my content to just be my content. Now, if someone is tagging me in their post for some reason, or tagging me in some type of contest or whatever, if it's for you, just for me to, if the intent is for you to for me to see it, great. I saw it. I might hit the tap button. I hit like on that or whatever. But if you're not asking me a question directly about how to do something, or if you're struggling with something, or if you want my feedback on something, I don't feel inclined to reply, to give that a comment to say, hey, good job, this looks awesome, or whatever. You need to tell me what is it that you want from me, in the sense that if you were just walking on the street and you see me on the street, be like, hey, Ernesto, what's up? And we have a conversation. It's not just you just tag me. So those are just two things I wanted to jump in and talk about that you guys were talking about earlier. So that was just my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And it's funny, it makes me think of, I used to get a lot of flack at my old job because people would be like, they'd be like, thank you. And I would just be like, yep. Or I'd be like, I would just nod my head. And I had some people be like, you're not going to say you're welcome? And I'm just like, I mean, like you said, thanks. I understand what that means. Like, to me, like, my yup is like, you're welcome. Like, I just don't feel the need to be wild. Like, you're welcome.
Hey, thank you so much.
Like,
all right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And to me, like, it wasn't anything bad, but some people called me out and they was just like, yeah, we was just kind of offended by it. And I'm just like, well, I mean, like, I don't know, like, to me, like, yup is enough. Like, I don't feel like you're welcome. Like, that's not me. But
look at this. Look at this in the text form. Look at this in the text. You talk to your girl. I love you, baby. Yup.
Yo. See, I almost feel like I would do something like that, and it's not even coming from like an ill place. It's just, I don't know, man. Like I grew up in a household where like we didn't really like express emotion all like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was more implied than it was actually stated. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we didn't necessarily say like I love you back.
Yeah,
it just
lights on,
right? Knew like it was what it was. Exactly. So yeah, I'm just used to that. Like
yeah. That's kind of harsh. That's kind of harsh. I would think a thank you will imply you're welcome.
I mean, even to this day, I still, someone say thank, I'm just like, yep. It's just, I don't know. Like I'm trying to be better at it because I know it comes off in a different way than what I mean in my heart. But that's just my natural reaction. Just like,
yep. Hey, that's wild. I bet the Tersa says, yup. Yep. Hey, thanks a lot. I'm so appreciative you made my life better. I bet.
That's probably what I would say. Real talk. That's honestly probably what I would say. Like, I don't know. I mean, these days it's like, yeah, of course. Like, I think I say, of course, these days. Like, yeah, man, I really appreciate it. Of course, that's like my response. I don't know, man. I got to get better at that, I guess.
Yes, you do.
It's all love, though. It's all love. It just, I know things, it's just, that's life, though. Things come off a little different. And that's why I appreciate people bringing that to my attention, right? Because like when I'm saying it, I'm thinking like, yeah, no, you're welcome. Like that's what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm lazy when I talk sometimes. I'm just like, yep. But when people call me out, I'm like, okay, then that comes off a little different. Truly know. Passive aggressive nuke thrower. Oh man, yeah.
They know you. They know you well.
It's definitely all love though.
So what's the next?
I ain't got nothing but love for you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Likewise.
Yep.
I got nothing but love for you. I'm still gonna keep on tagging you. I'm still gonna tag you.
Honestly, I definitely do feel where Ernesto's coming from because like, sometimes I see stuff and I'm like, cool, like I think it's great. I just goes back to what I said earlier. Like I just try to make what I say have a little bit more significance. So it's like if I just say the same stuff all the time, like I just think it waters it down. I just try not to do that. But and like your one post, that's your one post that you tag me in, and so it's like me not saying anything would be more significant on your end, because to you that's just one post. To me, like, it's a mentality. Like that's just the way I think about everything in general. So I'm looking at stuff more holistically, where you, it's like it's just one post. So what is it to reply to one post? Nothing, to be honest, right? Like, if I see the post, I mean, it takes me 5 seconds, 10 seconds to respond, right? But I'm also terrible at responding to text messages too, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll get a text message, I'll look at it, put my phone down, and then be like, I'll get to it in a minute. And then next thing I know, it's the next day, and I'm like, damn, I forgot to respond to that text message. I could have responded right when I saw it, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? So
you forgot all about me. You forgot all about me.
Yeah, so I gotta get better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all hold me accountable. I gotta get better.
I tag team me too, but it's all good. I ain't got but love for y'all.
Hey, listen. hey, I get tagged a lot, man. But I did see that tag, but I didn't think it was anything. I knew it was for you to win something.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it required anything of me.
No. Yeah, no, like I've gotten tagged on posts, and then I go and look at the post, and I see 924, Brandon Cole Photography, T-Mid. I'm like, dang, they tagged everybody. Like, what?
Those are clout tags, man. That's clout tag right there. Like, that's, to me, that's more desperate than anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna tag somebody, like, it needs to be something meaningful. Either it was a collab, or hey, I watched a video, and then you was talking about doing this. I did this. I just want to show you that I applied it. Like, yeah, you just tagging people just to try to get your picture in front of more people. It's like, that's
I'd rather do it the hard way and try to get people to actually like mine than tag all these people, for them shit. That's just how I am, though. So
I agree 100% on that. And then, I mean, nowadays I hate tags anyway, because you if they tag you in the picture, you get the DM that you have no way to turn off, and I hate that. So that's annoying. So it's like, nah, just, I mean, ain't nobody tagging me, because I ain't big like y'all. No, I'm not getting no tags. But if I get to that point where I'm getting tags, I'll probably get annoyed. Like, if they just tagging just to tagging. But
I'm with you, Todd. Right?
maybe Keyz. Maybe one day we'll have that problem as the rest of the gentlemen on here getting the tags.
I think I'm gonna wait for my thousands. So
yeah,
I don't want that headache now.
Right.
Hey, you get in there. Gotta set some milestones for that to crack that 1K sub.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't have 1,000 yet, Tay?
No, still working.
Where you at?
North Carolina.
No, I mean, like, what number are you at? I don't pay attention.
No, I'm at 270, 274.
You only got 200? I mean, not saying all that, but yeah.
Hey, don't do that.
My bad.
275.
Everybody watching this video right now, go subscribe to this channel.
But I think I got another. I think I'm gonna do another video, so I'm gonna be like Ike with the do rag. So
you need more than that.
Yeah, but that's all I got. But that's all I got. But yeah, that's all.
I only ask because I'm like, you always put out content consistently, so I'm like, oh, you're actually good about cutting. And I think you like tag videos, so I'm just like, crazy me that you don't have 1,000 yet. So that's why I was surprised. I've been subscribed a long time ago. Once I subscribe, I stopped paying attention. I don't pay attention anyway, so to people's numbers, I'm like, oh, I just click the video and watch it.
Yeah. Well, hey, you and T-Mid just told me keep pushing. That's what I'm doing. So,
well, so again, always like, what's your purpose? Like, is your purpose to grow? If your purpose is up here to grow, then there's certain rules and regulations that you have to follow if you have the mercy. But if your purpose is just to share your art to the world, then let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. I'm in between, so I'm just in between. So.
Oh, if you're in between, you gotta play the game if you're in between.
Yep. Yep, for sure. I mean, you know, you do what you got to do to get that K. Just, you know what I'm saying, do it in a strategic way to where you don't box yourself in. So like Ernesto was saying earlier, you know, if you got to drop a couple gear videos here and there just to get you some views and get you some subs, cool. But you know, you got to do it strategic so you don't become that guy. You know what I'm saying? Then your back is against this one wall and you trying to figure out how to get it off of that wall. So you just, yeah, it's a game. It's chess, man. Like you got to be strategic. Like you can't think about your move tomorrow. You got to think about your move, you know, a month from now. So you just got to be very strategic with it, man.
That really, and you really got to be trying to figure out how to beat other people because, like, again, I've rented. Lord, she don't go somewhere. This child. Yeah, I don't have kids. I'm like, I've spent so much money on my growth on YouTube, so it's not like a out of nowhere. Like I've actually like intentionally rented and bought gear just to grow my YouTube channel. So it costs money. You're not gonna get there for free. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
So if you think you're just gonna pull some stuff out your garage and just grow from that, that's not the case. Especially if you're not the most marketable, you got to figure out how to force them to see your stuff. So the way I did it was that I would rent gear that was just came out that didn't have a lot of attention and make videos that I thought people would want to see. Because that way, if you want to see something on the Sony, if you want to see a wedding shot on the Sony A9, you got to come to me because ain't nobody else did it. So you got to run me my view. And then in that way, you get people like, oh, this guy's actually really good. Let me subscribe. So that's just how I would play it. Or like Lou Lenses came out. Or if I'm just trying to like Toglife might do, test out theories and ideas that nobody else has done yet. Like, oh, I wonder what's the difference between this flash and that, or this modifier and that modifier. Questions that people have, but nobody's actually took the time to do. Like if you actually take the time to do it and do it well, execute the video well, you will get rewarded. So.
Yep.
Whether like immediately or over
facts,
time with Evergreen.
That's a good way of playing the game right there too, right? So you know you like doing portrait stuff, so cool. But if I got this shoot coming up anyway, let me go rent this camera. Let me go rent this lens.
Yep.
Because I'm still doing what I like to do. I'm still shooting this model. I'm still getting my content, but at the same time, I'm using this camera that's hot right now. I'm using this lens that just came out. So it's the best of both worlds. Like doing what you want, but you infusing that gear into it that's gonna help get you some clicks too.
And you also, in a way, you gotta treat YouTube like a business if you're trying to grow like intentionally. And what I mean by that is like in that form, it's like, all right, if I'm renting this gear is I'm trying to get a return on my investment. My return on my investment might be views, subscribers, whatever the case it be. It's not always going to work out. Sometimes you might have some bombs, but in business, you spend money and sometimes you don't get a return on your investment, but you don't just shut down the business. You look at what you did wrong or figure out what you could do better, and then you try to execute. And that's how I look at it as well. I'm looking at like, all right, if I rent this, I want to rent the Fuji GFX, right? I've been wanting to do it for the longest, but I never took the time to rent it. I've rented the Sony, plenty of Sonys, bought Sonys, all that stuff. And lenses as well, but I've never rented the GFX because it doesn't cost me money. I'm like, all right, once I do it, this video gotta be worth it, or else it's gonna be a waste of money. And so I'm waiting for the perfect opportunity to rent it, so I can make content that's gonna be as good enough. I want to make content that's gonna, what's the word I'm looking for? It's gonna be worth the effort I put into renting it. So if I rent a GFX 100. And I just go shoot a model like in the city, maybe not the most effective way to use that camera, as opposed to like if I rented it and then I set up some editorial shoot with like makeup and stuff in the background, like to really show the detail and the colors and stuff like that. So that's really what might hold me back from the GFX. It's just like I don't want to get a GFX and then shoot somebody against a white backdrop like that. What's the point?
Right. Facts.
I got a question for y'all. If you guys stop making videos today, what do you want your audience to remember about you?
That I was the realest to ever do it.
Well, hang on. That's a great comeback, but give me some more substance behind that.
So the reason I say that is because, and I made this joke when I was with Taylor Jackson. and he was like, "Hey, what got you into doing YouTube?" And I was like, "Well, I learned a lot." But then I realized that the people were like making money from it. And then when I was looking at the videos, I didn't see anybody that related to me. So me saying the real estate is just oversimplification, but like I wanted to make videos and come from a aspect of like, hey, somebody that looks like me, that thinks like me, talks like me, similar background as me, or whatever the case be, or just in that range, might have somebody like, all right, cool, this is somebody who like is okay, like he dropped his camera, or his lens caps may not be on perfectly, or he might be have a little dust on the sensor or whatnot, but he's still rocking it anyway, or his light stand might be a struggle light stand, but he's still out here, getting it. He's showing how he's, trying to make these images work, as opposed to, another YouTuber who might have like the most money and they might pull out a pro photo with a perfect softbox, like clean and the best light stand with gimbals and all kinds of B-roll and, HD 4K footage, right? The done up like, what is the word I'm looking? My language sucks. The quality is like on 10, right? And then you got me who comes from like I just told you my background, right? What I grew up. So maybe my priority might not be to have the best quality camera. Maybe I'm just trying to get the content out. So I'm just want to show people that like, look, you don't have to have the best. You can still get it and make some great stuff with just less than what these other people are doing. As long as you are good at what you're doing and can execute, you can still like make it work. And that's really how I like approach my videos. Like, I've shot videos with an iPhone. I've shot videos with like a Sony A7S III. I'm gonna try to make the video as best as possible and be entertaining and also be authentic and like. And I always say that like what helps me sleep at night is knowing that nobody's gonna say, "Oh, we found out that he actually doesn't use Nikon. He shoots Canon." Or like nobody's gonna like find out some kind of embarrassing fact about me because I've already exposed all my embarrassing facts. So you can't get me, right? So. Like I'm not gonna say like anybody because this ain't me. So
hey, put it out there. I support it.
But no. So like we had there was another influencer who got mad at the company because they weren't treating him the way
his name earlier already.
Wanted to be treated, right? And
he already did. He already said it.
But like I got triggered because I was like, yo, you talked all of this mess about other brands, or you just had all these sick comments to say about these other companies, but the whole time you was frustrated about what was going on in your situation. If I'm mad about something that Nikon is doing, or if I'm feeling or something, you guys gonna know it, or it's not gonna be that big of a secret. I might not be putting it on Front Street, but if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm like, yeah, this is how I feel, or this is what that. Hey, Ike, how come you're not an ambassador? Well, I'm doing my thing, and if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. I don't care. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I'm gonna switch to Canon because that's just not who I am. I'm just like, I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be, and again, I'm gonna let the chips fall. So when I say the realest that ever did it, I just want people to appreciate how authentic I'm trying to come across on camera, while also providing entertaining and like decent quality artwork, if that makes sense.
That's a good point right there because like you said with the Nikon ambassador situation, I do feel like it's more genuine if it just happens versus you're like they need to feature me because I'm like putting their stuff at the forefront, and you know what I mean. So that could be a rabbit hole. But for me, I think my overall outtake, if I didn't make videos anymore, would really be generic. That like that T-Mid was a guy that just liked to have fun, because I never really try to harp on being the person with the most technical aspects and everything like that. I honestly just try to, get a model, have fun in the studio, get a model, have fun outside, or if I know something, okay, I figured out how to put this pedestal box together, so let me make a video on that. Oh, I'm about to vlog this situation that has nothing to do with photography, and I'm still going to make it a video. You know what I mean? So mine's pretty generic, but that's kind of how I like to be viewed. Is like man, if you gonna be with me, let's just have fun at the end of the day.
What about you, Anthony?
Man, that's a great question, man. And I've never really thought about it, and it's hard to answer because it's like I care about YouTube, but at the same time I don't. And I started my channel similar with like I had learned so much off of YouTube, so I wanted to contribute. It's like I didn't want to feel like I was taking. Like I wanted to give something back, and at the same time, it was also the same thing. Like sometimes there was videos that I wanted to see that I didn't see, or there was people that was making videos that they was a little bit more dry, not as entertaining. So it's like, okay, we can't always complain about what's not there. If it's not there, put it there. So I mean, that was kind of why I started my channel. So I would have to say, I think I would want people to be like, Toglife was passionate about the videos that he made, and he genuinely just wanted to help people, because like that's my motivation. You know what I'm saying? Like every time I get a comment and somebody's like, yo, like this was helpful, I really appreciate you taking the time to do it, that makes all of my effort worth it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I could just help one person, that's great. Like I could be sitting on the couch watching other YouTube videos, or I could be making a YouTube video that's helping somebody else. If I make that video and it helps somebody else, like that was worth my time versus me sitting on the couch watching TV. I would rather put in the effort and make that video to help somebody than to just be sitting around doing nothing. So yeah, I mean, I don't, it's tough for me to answer that, but I would want people to know that I just genuinely wanted to help people, and I was very passionate and believed in the videos that I put out there.
That is actually an interesting, a great point that you made. Like I've come across videos like that where like they aren't the most popular, they don't have the most views, but I would just have this one simple question, and that one video will answer my question. I'll be like, thank God somebody made the time to create a video to answer this one specific thing that I had a question. I don't know if you guys have ever come across that. Like if you have had an issue, and I'm like, thank God for the internet, because like, what did people do before the internet existed? Like,
facts.
It was a question about my washing machine was acting funny, and so I like looked it up, and somebody else if I would have figured it out, I would have just figured it out and went about my life. But they figured it out and made a video about it. And I'm just like, thank God they made the video, because if it was me, I would have made the video. But they actually made, and it's not going to get a bunch of views, but it's just going to be so helpful to whoever is needing that information. So like back to your point of like, if I can help one person, that one, you could be that person's life you change or whatever off of just that one, and it's hard to see the results or the fruits of that labor off of just one comment, but you never know what that one question did, for that person, for whatever their career. But if you don't see 1 million views, it's like, oh well, that was worth it, that wasn't worth it. And it could be the farthest thing from the truth. It could have been the one question that saved somebody.
Yeah, big facts. Yeah. What about you, Ernesto?
Well, before I answer the question, my own question, the reason I brought that question up is because Tay, at the core of it, I'm hoping that you're hearing the answers to that question. But at the core of it, as you can see, these guys have, this one salient point that drives their video creation, right? They may sway away from that core sometimes, to do other things to draw additional eyeballs to their videos or whatever, but they have like a core message, like they're like Ike was talking about. If you're viewing your YouTube as a business, or you're viewing what you're about to rent, as far as gear or whatever, as your business, every business in most cases will have like what is it? A business plan, right? And then the business plan, they have, that one, main thing that they're trying to do with their business. So I would say, if you're taking anything away from that answer that they have, just, take away Ike is, about, keeping it real, sum up everything that he says to that, right? T-Mid is about, making sure that his videos is fun, and he's going to constantly come back to that. And you know, Anthony is about being passionate about the subject that he's trying to educate somebody on, you know, and his is basically trying to, you know, take something that, you know, maybe you might be interested in, maybe you're not, but he's interested in it, and he's going to talk about it in a passionate way and deliver it in that way that hopefully will somebody else, when they're watching it, they'll become passionate about the subject matter, or it might answer their question that they may have. You know, it may not get the eyeballs today, but it may get the eyeballs from somebody, like Ike was saying, when they're looking for that specific subject, they will get the eyeballs and be like, damn, Anthony, thank you very much. You answered my question, because that's exactly what I was looking for. So if that's what you're, you know, you gotta find your hook. You gotta find your main core thing that you're trying to do, and, you know, focus on and making that better, you know, making that, you know, so that when you get up every morning and you're ready to put yourself in front of that camera, you could say, okay, I know exactly what I want to say is not going to be that difficult for me, and you could deliver it, you know what I mean? So for me personally, and it took a long time for me to get to a point where I can have that core message, like I can have something that I could focus on in terms of my videos, right? So what I'm hoping for when someone, you know, if I stop making videos today, is that when someone will go back and watch my videos that I have, is that it will certainly inspire them to basically pick up the camera and actually go out and do photography. My thing is about, you know, trying to be very, very passionate about the creative aspect of it. I just don't want to just take a picture. In fact, I don't want to take a picture. I want to create a picture, and I want someone, when they watch my videos, that they could see that passion and be able to pick up on it and be as passionate about their stuff, not necessarily about how I'm creating, but about, okay, I basically show them how I did something, and now they are going to be fully passionate about creating whatever it is that they're going to create. Today, I got this message from my client, a client that I did a photo shoot yesterday on. She sent me this audio message. I was really feeling like down this morning. I got up this morning, I was really feeling down. I was like, and then she sent me this audio message that is like so upbeat, so passionate. She was like, Ernesto, I really, 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 really love what you did. And it, you know, it made me feel good. It made me feel happy about delivering something that really inspired and made someone really feel passionate about something I created, you know? So when someone is watching my video, I'm hoping that they're feeling that way as well. I'm hoping that they're feeling that way about their work. So that's what I hope when someone's, you know, if I stop making videos today, that's what I'm hoping that they will get from it. So I'm just hoping that, you know, for you personally, Tay, I'm hoping that you find that thing that would make you, you know, want to create videos and leave your legacy for the next, you know, generation.
That was good.
Yeah, man. Like, tip my hat, sir.
Thanks for that. Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah,
Hey, don't be surprised if you see a video title like "Why I Create."
No, I don't have a video coming out like that. You know, sometimes I feel inspired, and sometimes I do videos like that. But yeah, I don't have a video coming out like that. No.
Don't be surprised if you see one.
Yeah, I'm about to say I ain't about to be dropping one.
You guys, these last 6 years, I had a thought that come to my head randomly. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, what is at the core of my creation?
Right.
Yeah, you know, I was randomly thinking about this today.
I was walking.
Yeah,
No, but that's
good.
that's a good point. And like I feel the same way about you, Ernesto. I'm like, oh, Ernesto creates pictures. He doesn't take, like, I take pictures. He creates images from start to finish. I'm like, man, that's amazing. I remember, I don't know if I told you, but when I watched your WPPI thing and how you were like just really like intentional with the people and creating images. I was like, I want to do that next year. You know what? Forget 30 people in a bus. I'm just taking like 5 people. It's gonna be 5 of us at a tripod in a dream, and we're gonna come out there.
He's in the tripod in a dream.
They're gonna be like, "Hey, you got any more room?" Nah, blame Ernesto. He said, "Y'all can't go." I gotta take 3 people and focus on those 3. So sorry.
Hey, listen, just to put it out there, maybe you could do some multiple sessions of 3 to 5 people.
It takes a lot out of you, bro. Like managing, I'm sure, even with the little people that you had, Ernesto, managing people with their flights, making sure they're okay, figuring out hair, makeup, figuring out location. How's everybody gonna get there? Okay, are you ready? Are you set? Okay, let's get here. Like I'm like, oh yeah, but like back in the background, I'm like, all right, let me make sure I got everybody. Okay, he's accounted for. Are you big? Running back and forth, like it's a lot. So like I just be like, that one thing be enough for me, and I'll be done. I'm like, all right, I'm good. Don't ask me for nothing else. I came outside. I created a thing for us to help and come and people like, next year. I'm like, what you mean next year? It's gonna be 3 people next year. If you ain't come this year, I'm sorry. I told y'all. 2018, me and Ernesto told y'all. 2019. 2020, it was lit. Y'all ain't come outside. Wait, was it early 2020? 2021 was I didn't do anything. 2020, 2022, I told y'all, right? And then now look, now it's like now I'm closing it off to like, all right, we're just gonna be 5 people, more intimate setting. We'll go out to the desert somewhere. Now y'all want to come on? I can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah, Ernesto, I definitely would say, I mean, I think I commented on, man, one of your WPPI videos and basically said the same thing, where it's just like, you know, you create stuff and that's inspiring for me, because in my mind, that's how I want to do things. But then half the time when I get on shoots, especially if they're just shoots for YouTube, I just be clicking. And like that shoot that me and Mid did when I was in Vegas, I was like, all right, I'm gonna slow down on this one. I'm gonna be methodical, and then the shoot starts. And what did I do? I'm just clicking, and I'm just mad at myself. Like, man, I did the complete opposite of what I said I wanted to do. And I think, you know, in 2022, there's a lot of good photographers out there. Like, there's a lot of photographers that can take good pictures, and it's like that's not enough anymore. It's like nowadays, like you got to create something that's different than what everybody else is doing. It's like if you just going out and you got a good camera and you taking good pictures, cool, you did good pictures, but you're not going to be any different than every other photographer that's out there that's also taking good pictures. Like, you got to have a vision, you got to create stuff, you got to have something where it's like, man, I never even would have thought about that, and those pictures is dope on top of it. It's like that's what you got to do to set yourself apart these days. And obviously for client work, it could be a little different, right? Because I mean, client work is client work, but big picture, big vision as photographers, like we got to look at it more than just taking pictures, and we just got to start putting some creativity into it and just doing something different.
You know, that's the and that's the added piece that I feel like is the special sauce to the YouTube side, is like adding you in there. You know, like are you interesting? Can you keep that audience with a little extra pizzazz? You know, like how is your personality? Because that could be the difference maker. Where it's like, I know when I go to this person's video, I might get even a little laugh and extra entertainment on top of the photos and video. You know.
Yeah, well, and that's definitely big in the business sense. You know, if you do photography as a business, you know, sometimes there could be a photographer out there that's better than you, that produces better work. But if your personality jives more with your client, they will work with you over that next person, just because at the end of the day, like your picture and their picture is good enough. But what's the experience like? You know, what is it like when I work with my photographer? You know, how well do they manage the shoot? How well does my team get along with the photographer? Are they fun to work with? That carries more weight than how good you are as a photographer. I mean, there's a lot of photographers that aren't that great at photography, but they're very good at business. They're very good at marketing. They have a great personality. So they still get a ton of work, a ton of business, because for a lot of regular clients, the pictures are good enough, you know? So it's all about the experience. What is it like working with you? So, I mean, that's key. And a lot of photographers, I think they think that it's just I need to have the best camera. I need to have the best lighting. I need to produce the most technically perfect image that I can possibly create. And it's like that works for photographers. Other photographers might look at that and be like, oh yeah, that's great. But that's not enough for clients these days. Like they need more than that.
That's true. I'm still here.
Yeah, you
I'm
lost
still
that,
I'm still
that
here in spirit. I'm still here in spirit.
How about to say what in the world?
now you really like doing the audio book thing. Now we can't even see you. We just got your voice. You want to just do some late night radio talk?
Yeah,
They
you
said-
were
they
talking
said they
live
got
with T
divorced.
to the M to the IDD. And we are
So-
live on Anthony Togg's Life YouTube channel. Take it away, Tog.
So, Anthony, I have a quick question for you. So, do you view your client work that you do? I guess based upon what you just stated, you view your client work differently than your YouTube / photography work.
Yeah,
And I guess my
100%.
question, what was that?
I said, yep, 100%.
100%. So my question to you is, why do you view it different?
So I think the easiest way to answer that is, my client work, I typically try to deliver a consistent product that is going to be acceptable for my clients. Whereas my YouTube stuff, I'm more so trying to please myself and do something different, try something different, be creative. And I don't have the flexibility to do that with clients. Like, let's say I get a new light modifier or a new lens or whatever. I may want to do something different and creative, but I can't do that on a client shoot that has looked at my website. They're expecting a certain product, a certain look. I delete that, because if they hire me for one look and I deliver something completely different, then I misled my clients in a way. So I don't really have like that flexibility to be creative. So I guess when I say that, I don't necessarily mean that I'm like two completely different photographers. It's more so when I do YouTube stuff, I can try something different. I can do whatever I want to do. Maybe I can, I don't always do well at this, but I can slow down and be a little bit more methodical where and things will be a little bit different here in Vegas. But like when I was in LA, my portrait sessions were short. Like my longest session was 30 minutes because the commute time to and from the session, like I didn't have the flexibility to have an hour session or a 2-hour session. Like I had to try to squeeze in 2 or 3 sessions in a day. And then if I had 4, 5, 6 hours of commute time, I basically got to get in, I got to get some good pictures and I got to get out of there. So I didn't really even have the flexibility to slow down and be a little bit more methodical. It's more or less like I just got to, get these pictures and deliver this product. And it's not to say like the products weren't any good, but if I had the time to be more creative and slow things down and think differently with my client, I would rather do that. But I didn't have that luxury. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if I'm hearing correctly, it's about developing a style that you're happy with and is consistent for your business, and then be able to take that style and quickly repeat it on any client gig that you have. But then you use YouTube as your creative outlet when you want to experiment with other things. So I guess my question to that would be, would your creative side that you're using, which is basically on YouTube, would that at any point in time influence that tool or that process that you have on the business side? Would that ever influence your photography that you're doing on the business side?
I would say yes, and I would say my goal is to have that be the case. Like I would say like my client work is safe. I wouldn't say that there's anything about like if someone looks at my client work, I don't think that they're going to look at that and be wowed by any of it. Like it's safe, it's repeatable, like you said, it's consistent and it's efficient. And so that's good from a business standpoint, right? Like, I mean, I can get my clients, I can do what I need to do, I can do it in an efficient amount of time. The clients are happy, I make my money, they get their photos. It's good from a business perspective, but from an image in general, like when I look at my work, I don't even look at it and say like this is amazing work. I just look at it as it's solid work, it's consistent work. I would love to be able to transition to having creative wow type work that I'm delivering to my client, because in today's market, photography is a very saturated market. So me just having solid, consistent work is not going to be enough anymore. Like, people are taking solid, consistent work with their cell phones. So how can I show up and say, hey, pay me X amount of dollars and I'm going to create this work for you? And they're going to look at it and it's like, yeah, that's strong work. But look at this phone that so-and-so just took with their iPhone 2 days ago. If my work isn't substantially different from that, it's just more work for me to be able to get those clients. So I would love to be able to get to a point where I'm taking this creative side and I infuse that into my business, and that becomes what 125 photo is. 125 is, oh no, he does, it's kind of like the fine art photographers, right? Like, I admire that, but I don't have the time. Like, I can't invest, oh yeah, it's a 3-hour session, a 4-hour session. Now, granted, they charge more money, but it's like, I would like to have a balance of add that creative, create a better product, but still somehow be efficient and be repeatable. That makes sense.
It does. And I kind of have the same question for Ike, because I view both of you guys, because you guys do this full time, photography full time. I don't do it. T-Med, who I guess dropped out, don't do it full time either. Tay, I don't know if you do full time photography or not, but I am interested to hear, because I know.
Not yet.
Ike,
So
what was that?
I said not yet, but I'm working towards to it.
Oh, okay. But I had mentioned earlier that his Instagram, his personal Instagram, is basically experimental, kind of like mine, all over the place, right? And then his business is very uniform. It's basically, if you go there, you see something very consistent, right? So I guess for you, Ike, same question. Like, does your creative side that you have, does it influence or taint, or do you find that you want to taint that uniformity that you have going on your business side in any shape or form when you're trying to create work for your clients?
That's sorry. Sorry, that's an interesting question. And let me close my door. These kids don't go in here.
Norman Bates.
My Lord, can y'all hear her?
Uh-huh.
She better go somewhere.
Let her in.
My professional client work definitely influences my YouTube more so than my YouTube influences my client work. And what I mean by that is that, like, the way I shoot for YouTube is based on how I've learned how to shoot for my clients. And when I say I experiment, it's more of I'm just experiment. I may experiment with like lighting styles and things like that, and like compositions, maybe like vibes, clothing types, or like different lenses and things like that. But that's kind of in a way me experimenting to figure out if I can use this in my client work. And so that's why my pictures like that I shoot for YouTube, when I say my client work influences my YouTube stuff, I can transition my YouTube stuff into client stuff. I would just have to figure out how to get people to pay me for to do the stuff that I shoot, like for these type of things. And so my easiest example is I'm working on a video for a shoot that I did a girl's senior pictures for in UW Seattle at a school, right? Typical scene session. It's sessions that we do all the time in the past. I just recorded it for YouTube. Now, if you're watching this, you're like, oh, well, his photography is not that impressive. There's nothing like super uber creative or like magnificent. It's just basic compositions, some rule of thirds here, some middle of the frame here. It's a quote unquote, this is how I would shoot a typical client. I'm just recording it for YouTube. Now, where my fun factor might come in is like, if this is a client, I might not use the flash. Well, let me just pop in the flash to be impressive for YouTube or for people to be impressed online. To say that I know how to use flash, I know how to shoot a flash, or let me try some really cool angles for the YouTube video that they don't necessarily need for their own stuff. I could have walked out and been done, but let's go over here. Let me try this lighting. So there's images that I created and things like that for YouTube while I was on the actual client shoot, but it wasn't so far off that it was like completely different world. It was let me just try something extra. But going back to the point, yeah, how I shoot for my business, because it's my biggest thing. It's hard for me to turn off that, like, how I shoot for my clients. So a lot of my work is just based on like how I actually shoot for clients. Whereas like, okay, so for example, Ernesto, I'm trying to think of a shoot. There's plenty of shoots you've done, especially like with, like example, old girl, you did when I bought those filters, you did the light with the fire and stuff like you create. I'm like, that's amazing. I would never think to do that on a client shoot. And me wanting to do that is because I saw you do it. It's now I want to create something like that based on like experimenting with gear and lighting scenarios. But that probably would never go into a client shoot. Most of my work is like a white backdrop with lighting because I do client work like that. And so I'm just doing that on YouTube. But instead of a person wearing a business shoot, she might be wearing a crop top and some booty shorts. That's where the creativity comes. Like, let me try something different. Like, that's where the YouTube experimentation. But it's the same style. It's how I like. And so my Instagram feed, my professional feed, is families, high school seniors' weddings, whereas I don't post the weddings on my main feed. I don't post the high school seniors, but the style is still the same. The way I light, composition is pretty similar, if that makes sense.
That's certainly helpful for a person that's not doing this on a full-time basis, that just when people reach out to me, to clients, I should say, more specifically, reach out to me to do photography. For a very long time, I used to struggle because, like I said, photography is not my main income. But when people reach out to me and say, hey, can you, they want to hire me to do their photos, first thing I ask them is like, hey, show me what is it that you want, right? And then they send me their mood board, something on Pinterest, and it might be something like light and eerie, and it's all natural light.
Basic,
and that's not necessarily me. And then I go out and I try to mimic exactly what is it that they sent me. And for the longest time, I hated those results, and I never posted it anywhere, but the client loved it. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever, you love it. I hate it. So basically what I've done now is just like, if a client reach out to me, is you're getting me. You're not getting, you could show me your light and airy pictures from a wardrobe perspective and hair and makeup perspective, but when we go out and shoot, you getting me. This is me. All my, whatever it is that I want to do on that shoot, I'm doing. And that's it. And that's the way I've been approaching it lately. So I was really interested to hear both of your answers and how you guys approach it, because for me personally, I'm still experimenting in that journey. So far, it's been a little bit successful. So I was just interested to see how you guys viewed it. So I appreciate that.
I was gonna say, go ahead, talk.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, sometimes I feel like it hurts my range, because my work, the way I work, influences my YouTube. And so like, I pride myself when people like hire me, I'm like, look, I'm efficient, and I know like how you are talking. Like, I know how to get the shot. I've been doing this since 2010, so what, 12 years now. So I know how to place the flash. I know exactly what it's going to give me. I know how to get the shot. I know how to get you into a pose that's going to make a solid image, right? And so when it comes to client work, like you said, Ernesto, getting that shot that they want is easy for me. And so when I like make stuff for YouTube, I'm still in that same mind frame of being efficient. And so it's hard for me to be like, well, what pieces can I grab, or could I put this person behind this bush, or could I maybe put them in this corner and then add some greenery here and then create a whole new image out of this scene. I'm just like, all right, here's the light right here. Let me have you staying right here. Let me get in the best situation that's going to be the most flattering and get the shot. And so that's the mind frame. And when I say, oh, today I'm testing out the new Nikon 51.2, I'm shooting a baddie with some skinny jeans on and a nice top or whatever with the 51.2, but I'm going to shoot it how I would shoot client work. This isn't a client. And like, maybe for a senior shoot, it'll be more like proper or whatever. Whereas like for me, it's a baddie. I might be a little bit more edgier with my poses and things like that, or my lighting. But it's not going to stray too far off from like what I would have did for anybody else. If this was a client, I would just let him more directly and had him turn and face the camera, put a hand on the hip to the side. Simple stuff like that. So there's just small adjustments that I make that transition from YouTube to Ike and Tosh photography in motion. And so, yeah, I'm heavily influenced by it, but it's because it's what I do, and I'm just so like, all right, cool. Let me get the shot. Let me get this video up, and let me get to the next one. And the experiment is the 51.2 for the views on the YouTube, or she cute, she can give me a lot of views. That's where where the fun part comes in.
Yeah. So Ernesto, one thing that I don't want to say it bothers me, but like, when I watch YouTube stuff, like I think there is a big difference between how people go about doing things as a part-time or hobbyist photographer versus being a full-time photographer. You have a lot more flexibility as a part-time photographer than when your sole income is reliant upon your photography. So as a full-time photographer, if I get a potential client and I'm like, what do you have in mind? And they show me a light and airy photo, and that's not what I do. For me, it's not a good investment for me to really take that client. Now, you could look at it and say, yeah, but you're getting paid, you're getting the money. True, but it's a style that I don't do. So I have to adjust my whole workflow to be able to get that style, number one, which isn't a huge deal. But the bigger thing for me is, well, what can I do with those images when we're done? Like as a full-time photographer, what do I need? I need to be able to market. I need a product. And so a product for me is those images that I take. I can therefore use those images to market my style of photography to more people. If I start taking on a bunch of clients that are not the style that I want, and these aren't the clients that I want, what am I going to do with that content? Of course, yeah, I got paid, but when you do photography full time, the client you have today is irrelevant. It really is your client tomorrow. Like I can have a client today, that's great, but I need to be worried about my clients in the future. So if I'm taking a client and they want light and airy, okay, I get your money today, but does this shoot help me make more money tomorrow? And the answer for me would be no, because it's like, I can't do anything with that. I'm not going to put those pictures on my website. I'm not going to put them on my Instagram because that's not my style. So it's not to say that I would turn down every single job like that, but as a full-time photographer, you're really looking at things a lot different than just people that do it for fun or do it part-time. Like everything is a business decision, and you're just thinking like, does this help me with my business? Does this help me make money in the future? Am I going to get a good return on my investment in what I'm doing? If not, as a business, you don't do it because you're just like, I could be doing something else that's going to help my business grow. So I think it's just things are different when you do this full time. Like I would love to be able to do a session where, I could spend 2 or 3 hours with the client, but I don't have I'm not at a point where I have the client base to where I could bring in enough money to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had a 3-hour session and I'm charging $3,000 for it, okay, cool. I could do one session a day and still be okay. But if you're not bringing in that kind of money, like you can't charge $300 for a 3-hour session. Like you're never going to make it as a full-time photographer. Like you're just not going to make enough money. So you got to be more efficient and streamlined and say, it's a 45-minute session and you just kind of do what you do. You get your images and you move on to the next person. So it's just, yeah, I mean, going into a full-time, I think the YouTube space isn't always the most realistic because I feel like a lot of photographers on YouTube do not rely on photography to pay their bills, to put food on the table, to take care of their kids. Like it's side hustle or hobby, and the way you approach things can be completely different when that's the case.
That part, and part of me judges people who don't do it full time on YouTube and they just be like saying whatever. I'm like, how are they telling people what, and they don't do it for full time? And that's not the best thing to do, because like, you know, just because they get to do it for fun and you don't, doesn't mean you need to be mad at them. But sometimes, I think I've mentioned this before, is that like you get compared, or you like, I'll be like, oh, you're the best person on YouTube, you giving it. I'm like, okay, but see if they make money doing that.
Right,
It's
right.
like,
Fact, serious,
like,
serious. Yeah,
like, yeah, this advice sound cute, but like if you want to like build a business, that advice only gonna get you so far. Whereas like, you know, that's
Fact.
not how they approach it. It's like, it's cute, but they get to have fun. They just get to go out and play. They don't have to worry about like client deadlines. So yeah, maybe they are able to be more artistic, but that stuff is, you know, fun and for free. And so sometimes I look at that, I'm just like, yeah, I guess y'all keep following this person, but they don't make no money from it. And again, that's a horrible way to look at things and to judge people based, because like people should be able. I'm a firm proponent of, you should just be able to pick up the camera and not have to worry about like money. Like, it shouldn't be a transaction behind every picture you take. You should be able to do stuff for fun. But I get peeved when like the comparisons start coming in, and like, oh, well, compared to this person, I'm like, well, yeah, but they like, it's my job. Like, the reason I'm doing this is because like this is how client, and then like it's just transferring over to YouTube, and so maybe I don't like come across as the most creative person or the most awe-inspiring. My work isn't on. It's because that work mind, it's being that frame of mind. I'm like, well, I'm just creating work that like you could create on a consistent basis with people, as opposed to like mood boards. And like you never see I barely see a mood board with me. Like, I'm the worst. But that takes your creativity to the next level. Like having a mood board, having a team, having a makeup artist. I'm like, hey, do your own makeup, you know, put on some what you got in the closet, let's rock like that. But that's just how I am. That's how my clients come to me. Oh, I got cool.
Yep.
So
but see, you know, and the thing is, though, you know, the people that have that mood board and they have those awe-inspiring images, you know, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that. That could have been a week worth of planning, a whole day just to do that one shoot. And again, like what you're saying, yeah, somebody could do that on YouTube, and it's like, well, yeah, if you're just doing photography as a side hustle for fun, you have the time to spend an entire week just to do one session. When you're a full-time photographer, you'd have to be charging a lot of money per session to do one session per week and still be able to pay all your bills. Like, regardless of what you want to do, you just don't have that flexibility if you're not charging that kind of money to be able to do that.
I'll be telling people, if you want it to remain fun and pure, don't do it for money. Like, don't make it a full-time job, because once it becomes a full-time job, it's hard to like want to do stuff for fun. Like, again, the YouTube is my outlet, so it's for YouTube. But like the minute it becomes like a job with in the retail space, at least, like where it's like I'm dealing with like portrait sessions, headshots, events, things like that. If you are getting paid to do fashion campaigns, then that's amazing. That's the whole, you know, more power to you. But like in the retail space, when it comes to like weddings, portraits, scene sessions, families, like if that's the route you're gonna go, like kiss your creativity goodbye. And the whole like, oh wow, like when you said Ernesto, you firsthand like, oh, she want this light and aircraft. That ain't even what I do. And somebody asked a question. I forgot. I saw a question. He said, he was like, if somebody saw your stuff, oh, West Coast VV said, Anthony Tyler, why would somebody come to you with light and airy style if that's not what you're doing? People, when it comes to clientele, they just want somebody proficient, and they see your work and they're like, oh, this person takes good pictures. Maybe they can do this kind of photo. They don't look at you as like, I want you for your work. I want you for this. And like what my wife, like, so my wife is an influencer, and like, she's like, I got to post this today. I got to post that today. And I'm like, yeah, like once you become an influencer and you get paid to post, your feed is no longer your feed. Your feed belongs to who the highest bidder. And so maybe you had a plan to post this on Wednesday because but the brand says it's got to be posted on Monday. And maybe Monday is not the best time for you, but they said, hey, campaign has to be done by Monday. That's when the post has to go up. And it's like, well, they put money on the line, so it's no longer your feed, it's their feed. And so they wanted you to post, and you signed the contract. You got to post. And when back to the thing about like photography, it's like, hey, they figured you know how to take a picture, but this is the picture we want, not what you want, what we want, and it becomes about the client, not about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely, Vivi, to piggyback on that. Yeah, I mean, sometimes a lot of clients, you know, they see photographers as photographers, and it's like they might go to your website or your Instagram and see you have this type of picture. But if that picture is solid enough, if your work is solid, then they're like, oh, well, he most certainly can do this as well.
Yep.
Just because he isn't posting it doesn't mean that, you know, he can't do it. So they'll still reach out to you and be like, yeah, this is what I have in mind. Can you do it? And technically, as like a solid photographer, you can. Like, if somebody came to me and they wanted light and airy, like I know how to do light and airy photos, but it's not my style. You know, I wouldn't really enjoy doing that. And it's like, if I don't enjoy doing it, and then it just becomes about the money, that's where you'll start to hate photography. You know, it's like, so as a business, do I do stuff sometimes that I don't like? Does the client have a pose that they really like, that I'm just like, I would never have you do this, I certainly won't post it, but they really like that pose and they want it, I'm going to take a picture of them in that pose. You know what I'm saying? So there's always a balance when you do it in business. You're going to do stuff you don't necessarily want to do, but there, you know, there has to be a fine line on that. It's like, I'm not going to take all this work and do all stuff that I hate, because that will make me hate photography in general, which is what turning any passion into a business, that's really what it does for you. It's like you have to be careful, because the minute you start taking money for something you love to do, you'll hate it.
Well, I think everything you guys just said, I think is really great, valuable feedback, and is probably, you know, something that most viewers that are viewing YouTube is viewing it from a perspective that they're not really full-time photographers. They might be doing it, you know, part-time, and maybe trying to get into it full-time. Maybe that's their objective, but they're not seeing that aspect of it, like that real life that you guys were just talking about. Like, you know, there's the creative part of things, and then there is the business side of things, which the business side of things is like very boring, right? Meaning from a photographer perspective, you might be doing maybe 10% of that stuff is photography. The other 90% that you're doing is all business, and they're not seeing that, right? So I would love to unpack some of that stuff a little bit more with you guys, because I think the folks that's watching right now probably will watch this video, probably find that stuff extremely helpful. I'm finding it extremely helpful. But my wife is calling me to go to drink some tea. You know, so I'm gonna bow and let you guys continue on. But
you got to go when the wife call.
yeah,
right.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so
especially on Mother's
I
Day.
appreciate you guys answering those questions. That was very helpful.
Show.
Peace.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get here in a minute, because it's been 3.5 hours. I'm on here like I don't have stuff to do. But just to
hit the grill. I gotta hit the grill for Mother's Day.
yeah. But just we gonna answer this question, then we gonna sign off. So in general, how hard is it to teach a client how to pose? For me, and I'll definitely let Ike answer as well from his point of view. For me, when it comes to posing, I would be the first to admit, like, I'm not that great at posing. And as a photographer, I have found ways to, man, these scammers be getting up in here.
Boy, they be getting it. I'm about to say, you just blocked them.
Yeah, I did, man. That came in at a different one. Yeah, so I'm not like the greatest at posing. So I've used that, and I've turned that into a positive by being the type of photographer where I don't really pose people. I typically will let people get into a position that's comfortable for them, and then I will tweak it so that it looks good in a picture. So it kind of gives me the best of both worlds, where they still look good, but I don't have to try to be like, you know, I'm never going to be like Lindsay Adler, where it's just like, you know, I can put every piece of the body in a specific spot. Like that's not who I am as a photographer today. So, you know, for me, when it comes to working with clients, in my experience and the clients that I have, I've just found that they're more comfortable with me just letting them do their own thing and me just adjusting something. So if they, you know, get in a pose and they put their arm a certain way, if that doesn't look good, I'll just adjust that arm. they feel more comfortable with that than if I try to
Mhm.
do a whole pose from start to finish. They start to get in their head about it, and then it's like if I keep having to adjust stuff, they start thinking that they're not doing stuff right, and then I lose them at, like, I want my clients to be having fun. Like, when I'm on a shoot, my only rule is don't think. That's what I tell every single client at the start of every single shoot. Don't think, just have fun. It's like if you're
Mhm.
doing something and
Same
you feel
thing.
like you
That's
look stupid, it's because you're thinking about it. Don't think, just have fun.
have
And so I
fun with it.
can't really do that
Mhm.
if I'm just like, okay, now put your left leg right here, move it over here, put your arm right. Like, they're gonna be in their head the whole time. So I just try not to pose. I try to just direct a little bit and just kind of let them
Yeah,
do their own
direct.
thing.
Mhm.
And then on the back end of that, always remind myself that photographers and people in that space are going to be 10 times more critical than the client ever will be. Like, as photographers, we're going to see stuff that my client would never see. Like, when you're in a photography forum and someone's like, oh, just be careful, don't crop off those limbs next time. I guarantee you, when the client saw that picture, they weren't like, this was a great picture, but you chopped my foot off, man. I wish you wouldn't have did that. Like, clients aren't saying that. Like, they don't care. Like, they're looking at the picture and they're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I love this picture. So I always try to remind myself that it's like, oh, and you don't have to knock every picture out the park from a technicality perspective. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if your client is having fun, you will win your client. It's like, so I just don't put that pressure on myself to try to make everything get the photography community approval or the YouTube approval. I just think, did my client have a good time? Did I get good expression? Was my exposure and lighting, was that solid? And that's a win to me. And I just don't worry about the posing too much.
Yeah, I second that. Like, I do a lot of guiding. I will say that, like, I have my go-to poses that I like go to for people, because when I'm dealing with like actual like retail clients, they don't know the first thing about posing. So I have like a set of poses that I go to first and foremost that'll help get the ball rolling, and then I'll just try to kind of flow into like what will make sense. But for me, I've practiced and studied posing for years, and posing is one of the hardest things to learn. Like, lighting, you can learn pretty easily. Like, expose for the background, set your flash at 45 degrees, figure
Yeah.
out the type of lighting, and boom, it's done, right? You can repeat that
Yep.
over and over and over. No matter who it is, you can repeat the same light over and over again. But posing can be so nuanced that, like, a pose that'll work for somebody who's like 6'2" might not work the same for somebody that's 5'4". Might not work the same for somebody who's 250. Might not work the same for somebody that's 125. And so it's one of those things that you just got to have experience with, and you actually have to actually study. Like how you would study lighting and composition, you also have to study posing. And that's why people make videos that are just strictly about posing, or courses about posing. And the biggest influences that helped me is Bambi Cantrell and Sue Bryce. Bambi Cantrell and Sue Bryce.
Cantrell and Sue Bryce.
Yeah, Bambi Cantrell, she had these flows. She had these moves that I still use to this day. How she like would kind of set and put their feet, and they're like she's old school. Like, she's old school, like the hip to the side, like that whole. But it works, and you can take those poses and kind of transition them to be a little bit more modern to what people are doing today. But they're like foundations that are baked into her process that I mimic to this day. And then even with Sue Bryce and how she like has people poses with elbows and things, and you don't have to, it's books, there's plenty of books. I even still buy books that talk about posing, but it's a never ending battle. And then once you get to a certain set, like, all right, I know hands on hips, hip to the side, cross arms, give me once I figure out like poses that look good, I'll just work from there. And like, all right, let me have you sit and do a sit pose, a standing pose, maybe lay, and then depending on the situation. Oh, if we're in a park, let me have you lean against a tree and cross your arms. But again, this is 12 years worth of practicing, studying, for 12 years now. Like, next year will be 13 years of practicing. So I've put in the time and the effort to learn what poses works. Now, my poses might not be the most creative. Like, I'm not good at the, again, because my client work bleeds into my YouTube work. So my poses that I pose people on for YouTube can also work for clients. This kind of poses are going to work for a headshot, right? For a person
Right,
doing
right.
a business headshot. But this might work for,
Yep.
and you see this pose on YouTube, and you'll see a headshot for a client as well. So again, that's why when I was explaining how my client work bleeds into my YouTube, even in how I pose is based on how I pose my clients, and like I might not have to be the most edgiest poses like the high fashion stuff, but it's simple and it gets the job done. Going back to, like you said, Toglife, efficient, getting the shot and getting to the next one. So
Bet. All right, well, gentlemen, man, it has been great.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Appreciate you guys joining.
Gotta
I
go
know
see
we
my
all got
mother-in-law.
stuff. Yeah, we all got stuff to do
Right,
before
yeah.
this day ends. So I appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, you on the West Coast. It's early here. Yeah, it's late over
right,
here.
right.
So it's
I
only
still
2.
got some time. That's why I said it for this time, because I'm like, man, I still need some.
I say it's
daytime
155
left.
where you at.
Yeah.
You good.
Yes, sir.
It's about dinner time for
right.
you, Playboy. The day's almost
Yes,
over.
Right, yeah, it's pushing 5:00.
Yeah.
All right, gents.
I do appreciate it, y'all, man. Thank you for the tips.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Keep
Thanks
funding,
for
my
having
man.
me on.
Yeah, so
Yeah, you know it. Try it. You're welcome.